If you search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, we're up live during the show, and then it's up forever and ever and ever and ever. So you can always catch what we're wearing, which is always very hot. Yesterday was Halloween. I liked it when the kids were little, sure. My son didn't do anything, and my daughter, I dropped her off at friends, but I had to drive him around. My son had the trainer and stuff. I had to drive everyone around. It gets dark now early again, and I can't wait for the time change coming up this weekend, because it's literally going to start getting dark. This is the time of year it starts getting dark. I don't want to get too morose about it, but before 4, because it's getting dark before 5. So, just extrapolate that to when they take the hour away. It will, around 3:45, the sun will be saying. Now, that starts improving in January.
But for these next 2 months, especially if it's overcast and there's no sun to begin with, oh, God.
Well, the good news
3:30.
is, well, Christmas time, it doesn't bother me that much because you got Christmas coming.
Yeah.
But after Christmas, it can be a bit of a slog. But nonetheless, I will tell you what's extraordinarily stressful is driving on Halloween in the dark. That is, I realized that my son even said something to me. He's like, "Are you okay?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh," and I'm like, "I think I'm just super stressed." To pull out of my driveway. Okay, so I live 0.3 miles from where my ex-wife lives. I deliberately bought a place right by there, and I was over there for a while because she can't get up to hand out candy, so I was over there for a while, and only one kid came to their door. When I pulled out of my driveway with my kids, there were, I'm not exaggerating, over 50 people in front of my house. And a woman had to take it upon herself to direct me out of the driveway. Now, I think part of that is because someone 2 doors down had this big old situation happening in their front yard with moving animatronics things and smoke and everything. So maybe that attracted people. But across a relatively slow main road, no one was. But on my street, everyone was. Now, Fred, did you hand out candy at your house? No.
Did you leave a bowl out?
No, but the neighbor, I share a wall because I'm divorced. I have to share a wall.
Yeah, that's in the bylaws.
And the people in front of me have 2 little girls, and I left them full-size Twix bars.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there you go.
Other kids be damned, but those two little scamps.
I figured that they are the only ones that know I live where I live because I live kind of hidden. You might just think it's one house, but I'm like Fonzie in the attic. You don't know I live there.
Yeah.
I live in the attic of their house.
So yeah, I share that anxiety of driving at night on Halloween because I had to take my son over to his friends and then had to pick him up later on, and it was dark, both dropping him off and picking him up, and you just don't know. You're kind of always expecting someone to be running out when they shouldn't be running out. And here's the other thing, which I'm really happy about. I'm not crazy about driving at night anymore, period. I used to give a sideways look to anybody. My grandparents, my mother-in-law. I'm like, oh, you don't want to drive at night? I'm starting to get an inkling of what they're talking about.
The reaction time is a little slow.
It's not the reaction time. It's the old eyes. Don't work like they used to. It's not my favorite thing. I don't love driving here in the morning, but have to. Given the choice to drive or not to drive at night, I'm all right. I don't have to. I don't feel unsafe. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Oh my! And the one street that I had turned on last night, there were a lot of kids still out trick or treating when I went to pick my son up.
What time?
Oh God,
what time
be
was
careful. 8:30.
Yeah.
See, around me, and I was all over the place. 5:30 to 8, it was jammed. maybe 5:30 to 7:30. It was jammed, and then it loosened up a bit. But also, the kids are so excited, and rightfully so. They're not like wearing glowing stuff, like they're dressed like in black stuff, which at night is what ninjas would wear to blend in. And they're just like taking off across the road. There was this one strategy a lot of kids were using, and they were using it on like kind of main roads, which was to stand on the sidewalk and frantically wave. And then I took that because I was being ultra cautious as to stop, and I was correct in doing so because they were waving, letting me know we're just randomly running across the street, and there's 8 of us, and we're gonna not come out as a unit. We're gonna come out at like 2, 1, 3. You got to, I mean, if you were just driving like you normally would, kind of just like, I got to get where I'm going, F you. I mean, I don't know what would happen. I barely touched the accelerator. I was afraid to have my foot on the accelerator. I don't know. And then my son kept asking me what would happen if I hit a kid. And he kept, like, what would be the punishment?
Shut up.
And then he's like, and I'm like, I go, like, I'd get arrested and then I'd probably get out, but then it would be like caught up in like court for a couple years. And he's like, well, you could work during that. And I'm like, I don't think the station would keep me.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what if it wasn't your fault? I go, well, that's unfortunately part of life, Milo. Like, it wouldn't be my fault, most likely. I mean, I'm going real slow. Like, I don't think it would, like, if a kid runs in front of your car and you're going 10 miles an hour and, like, they landed bad way. I mean, these are the things you're thinking about because there's kids running all around. I'm like, I wouldn't be my fault. I mean, but the family would be upset and it would be in the news because of who I am.
That's what you're thinking about anyway, without you peppering me with questions and bringing up subtle points that I had not thought of. And thank you for that, too, Ken.
Right, but I figured that, because that DUI that the guy got that killed the kid, I mean, that he just got sentenced, and it was like 2 years later. Oh. But I, obviously I was sober, so like, so I started thinking of the machinations of all that. So I was white knuckling it a little bit. It was having a stressful effect on me. Like I was like all tensed up. Because, of course, my daughter had to be taken to some neighborhood that's far away. And then, it's everything. And I told you the first time I ever trick-or-treated with Milo, even before Zoe was born. Or maybe Zoe was like like an infant. One of our neighbors came out and said, it's too early. You shouldn't be trick-or-treating. And that neighbor, how many kids do you think the neighbor has? They told
0.
Me yes. She's about in her 70s, and she has 0 children. She's never had a child. But
wait, you walked up, you knocked on the door.
No.
Oh, you didn't walk on the door.
No, I didn't knock on the door. I was outside.
You were outside.
No, it's worse. I was outside, and she just came up and told us that we shouldn't be doing that. Oh. We were on the sidewalk in front of our own home. Oh. And she came across the street and said it's too early.
Unbelievable.
And I went, okay, haha. Again, it took a while for me to realize in Brookline, in Newton, people aren't kidding. A lot of times I just assumed they were being cute, like being humorously sassy. But then I realized that they're not. And I also realize, again, the library people are out in full force. Incredulous that there are trick-or-treaters, so they're going to add to the problem by staring you down as they cross the road.
See, it's that sassy back and forth that is missing in your neighborhood, because we have it. Like last night, I happened to notice that my neighbor across the street, my largely useless but more useful by the day neighbor, Chris, was home alone, his wife traveling for work.
Sure, you knew. Yeah, you noticed.
Yeah, which we know, right? We know, because we're supposed to keep an eye on Chris. That's the instructions that Marcy gets, and then she passes it along to me.
Yeah, you keep an eye on him.
Right, keep an eye on him.
Okay.
So
he's what he's doing. You never know.
Just gotta.
He's like Schwarzenegger with the maid.
Well, let me tell you what he got up to yesterday. This idiot. The garage door open, which we don't have a homeowners association, but hey, let's close those garage doors, okay? It's a better aesthetic for the neighborhood. That's number one.
Okay.
Are you confused, Wally?
I'm not confused. I'm just.
You haven't seen those HOA videos from on Instagram from Florida where people get in trouble for leaving their garage doors open?
No, I haven't.
No, that's
Painting the American flag on them.
That's
Is there a fine involved?
Oh yeah, it's some of those places in Florida. You want to talk about some busybodies? But then I noticed Chris is not only home; he has put a bowl of candy out on his front porch. So I sent him a text. I'm like, "Hey, you're home. What's with the bowl of candy?" He replies that I should go F myself. So I take a trip across the street. I knock on the door. No answer. I'm like, huh, interesting. Some of the neighbor kids come by, trick or treat, a whole big deal. We give them the stuff. When they go over to his house, he actually came outside. So I went over there again. I'm like, oh, you come outside for the trick or treaters, but you don't come outside for me? Now he tells me to my face to go F myself.
This happened last night.
Yeah. This is the fun banter back and forth that you don't get in Newton. You need this in Canton. You get the face-to-face, and there's no ambiguity about it. He really, really wanted me to go back to my own home and have sex with myself. He told me to my face and over text. So, Fred, this passive-aggressive thing you've got going on in your neighborhood doesn't exist.
Oh, it's not. It's just in Newton in general, and it's just the way now, like people just the way they look. I'm just like, ugh, library people. And Adam knows because he's one, but he's one of them. I mean, like you're a little shaggy for like a Newton library person.
I would never pass in. If I go into John, you'll appreciate this. If I go into the Lexington Library,
Cary Memorial,
I get looks.
Yeah,
because I don't belong there either.
Well, Lexington, a poor man's Newton. I'll tell you
I'm
this.
poor enough, apparently.
So how did you know? Where did you see all this happening? From your window or from the lawn?
Well, a bit of both because the dog wanted to stay outside to greet the trick or treaters.
Yeah, we have a bit coming up at 8 that Adam and I talked about off the air yesterday. Hardy has a dog for the sole purpose of an opportunity.
Look, she was dressed in her pumpkin costume.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You've beaten that into submission too. That she doesn't even care. She's like, put whatever you want on me.
Yeah.
So but Adam and I have figured something out. Not to give anything away, but this dog that Hardy has is merely an entree into spying.
Okay. I'd like. I'm.
Or maybe not spying, but maybe a conversation piece.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good. We'll investigate this further because there could be something there. I'm not dismissing it.
Much like a young man will you perhaps use a dog at the dog park to chat up another young lady with the dog. Along those lines.
Yeah, like the dog always just happens to be outside while like workers are around.
Okay.
Yeah, that's 8:00 this morning. We have a segment.
We have a segment that we're really going to investigate.
She is wonderfully useful in that regard.
Yeah. She seems to get thrown around a lot when you need an excuse for milling about. or like checking out other stuff.
8:00's going to be fun.
I mean, it really does. Yeah. It is like every one of his stories.
I actually thought I was getting away with this. When you want to see what's going on at the end of the street, I'm going to take the dog for a quick walk.
You ever see that, Fred, in person where something dawns upon someone, the change that comes over their face, like, oh my God, either A, oh my God, I've been found out, or B, oh, I never realized about this. That's what just happened to Hardy.
Just picture the dog like standing by the door, like just looking expectantly at Hardy to let her out.
Do you want to know? I'm gonna blow this up on you a little bit. The reason why I truly knew everything was going on over at Chris's house is because they had both been gone, and we had packages that belonged to them. Oh. We see packages delivered on their front porch.
Being a good neighbor, you go in, you collect them.
And I don't even do it. It's generally Marcy or one of the kids.
Yeah,
they'll bring it off their front porch.
But still, that's being a good neighbor. That's being a very good neighbor.
I took them back over and knocked on the door. The garage door is open. I see the TV is on.
Okay. Is there a leaning over to check in the window type of situation?
Well, no, he's got to get the fog off the glass from his mouth.
Just like you see the TV
I
is
know
on.
he's
okay.
home.
All
So
right.
I knocked on the door and I sent him a text. I'm like, yo, I just left all your, wife's delivery packages on your front door. I see the bowl of candy out here. I know you're home. What gives? And
That's when he told you.
with the GFYs.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't want to talk to me.
All right. Well, listen, Hardy's a good neighbor. He'll pick up boxes, but it comes with a price.
Staring in your windows. Yeah.
Yeah, milling about. Peep. All right. When we come back, the Bruins not good, and there was a football game as well. There's so much to talk about. We'll be right back.
Peeping.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way. sub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Hardy, what went on last night?
We'll start with the Bruins. They were in Carolina to take on the Hurricanes last night. Dealing with a sub-500 record at the moment, and that trend would continue last night. We're not going to go through all 10 goals scored.
Well, there's only, we only have 3.5 hours left.
But we can certainly take care of the 8 goals scored by the Carolina Hurricanes.
Puck comes in behind. Here's Aho centering pass, shot, score. Gostisbehere throws one to the net, and they score. And a chance coming down the right wing, circle right in front, Orlov score. Nejas centering, score. Jarvis swings one in front. Swayman made the initial save of the rebound, they score. Martinook reaches around him, pokes that puck loose. Got it in front for Roslovic, and he scores. Shouldered by McAvoy, chance in front, and they score. Nejas sends across the line, shot, score, and it's Kotkaniemi. That will mercifully bring this one to a close.
Those goals, 2, 3, and 4 happened in the span of less than 1 minute at the end.
52 seconds.
At the end of the first
right.
period, 2 of them on the power play.
Since it was Halloween, and a lot of people were probably like me and did not see this game, and then obviously I was watching football. What you tell me? Swayman got let in a lot of goals. He had a bad save percentage, but you were telling me before the show it's not his fault.
Not his fault. The team in front of him was atrocious. I mean, against Philadelphia a few nights ago, the Bruins were able to get into the Flyers' zone. They just couldn't get any pucks through. We're talking about the Flyers blocking 28 shots. Last night, 5-on-5, they could not set up in the Carolina end. They went without a shot of any kind for the first 10 minutes of last night's game. And then they were basically given a 5-minute power play, 3 or 4 consecutive penalties on Carolina. There was a bench munter in there. Rod Brindamore lost his mind. The only goal the Bruins scored in the first period was from Brad Marchand, 5-on-3,
right.
And it was because he banked it in by accident off a defensive player, and the goaltender couldn't get to it. After Carolina scored 3 goals in those 52 seconds of the first period, you really, if you were a Bruins fan, could have turned the game off. They were the other goal the Bruins got was a horrendous turnover by Carolina in their own end, handing the puck to Hampus Lindholm. I keep wanting to say Nicholas Lidstrom. Hampus Lindholm by himself in front, about 30 feet away. They were worse than bad last night. They got run over. They were outclassed. And Judd Surratt had a great stat. They did not have a 5-on-5 shot in the first period. The first one they got was Lindholm's goal early in the second.
15 shots in the entire game for the Bruins last night. And Barry made a great point in one of the intermission reports, or maybe it was the post game last night. He said, you get a sense watching this team right now, when something bad happens, you're waiting for the next bad thing. You're not waiting for a response. And he says you kind of get a sense of it from the players, too, the way they're playing, the way they're watching the puck. There's a sense in watching the game and watching them that they're just waiting for the next bad thing to happen.
But it's even worse than that, because the first 10 minutes of the game, nothing bad had happened yet, and they still couldn't get anything done. Jim Montgomery blew apart his lines. He's tried 18 different combinations the last 5 games. None of these guys are playing well. Pasternak's even being dragged down by the rest of the team.
But John, Pastrnak doesn't have a problem with it.
Monty just trying to get us going, so obviously it doesn't work. So the mixing lines needs to happen. So I'm personally, I have no problem with it. I can read off anybody, but it's just, I said right now it's not about the combination. We are not good enough as a team, and that's where it starts.
Okay, you had John Beecher skating with the top line last night. You have Elias Lindholm moved down to the second line to skate with Marchand and Kastelik. You have Patra as the center on the third line with fourth line with Frederick. Coyle, who's been awful, is skating with 2 guys he probably just met 3 months ago. I'm telling you, this team is bad.
Well, it's all a means to bust up that fourth line, like they used to talk about maybe busting up the first line.
Yeah, the perfection line. Oh, we got to get help from everyone else.
Right, we'll bust that up. Now they got to do it with the fourth line to get the first 3 lines help. I've never seen this team play like this.
This is
in
the
last
season.
6 years.
Yeah, Fred, this is the season we thought they were going to have last year when they lost Marchand and Krejci.
Right.
But because Coyle and Zaka played out of their minds for most of the season, both of them had career years, we were assumed that this year would be similar to last year. Well, Coyle and Zaka have regressed to the mean. Both of them have not been good. And this team is awful 5-on-5 right now. Even on the power play. I'll take it back. Power play, they're bad too. Jeremy Swayman, statistically, I haven't looked, is probably one of the worst goaltenders in the NHL at this point. Not much of that is his fault.
He didn't look that bad. Well, at least nobody is happy, says Jim Montgomery.
Well, I look at it a little differently. We had a lot of success the last 2 years, and we were first place in the league at Thanksgiving the last 2 years. We never achieved anything we wanted to. Right now, we're not happy. Nobody's happy with what's going on, but we will get out of it, and we will be better, and hopefully it creates a better result come playoff time.
Misery loves company.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, it's early in the season. It's not ideal. But, again, we've talked to Jim Montgomery about this, and as long as they make the playoffs, if this team is built for the playoffs, I've seen enough best record president trophies. I've seen enough of it, and we'll see. We'll see where they are at Thanksgiving.
That was the worst defensive effort in the Jim Montgomery era last night.
Well, I don't
They haven't
doubt
given up 8 goals since the spring of 2021 when Cassidy was still here. I mean, it was bad. This
But
team.
then Cassidy left and went and won the Stanley Cup.
That's right. This team, maybe things change. Maybe they get it together. It certainly would not. There's a lot of talent on this roster, so maybe they will get it together. But right now, this team is a bad hockey team.
Yeah, everyone's calling for Montgomery to be fired. I think it's premature, and then I made the point to you guys before the show. And look, but this is just my point is if they win tomorrow against Philadelphia, which they should.
They just lost to the Flyers. That's the problem.
No, I know, but you shouldn't lose to the Flyers. But this is what I'm saying, because the reverse is true too. But if they win against the Flyers, then what, are you going to fire them if they lose the next game? Like, I don't know. They just need to string together a couple wins, and then the heat comes off of Montgomery again, at least until the end of the year. I mean, he's not signed, so, I mean, he's really in limbo. But, it's just so early.
It's so early.
That I have a little trouble getting all riled up about it.
Is Thanksgiving the first time where you start thinking about things?
Yeah, like if they go into Thanksgiving, like what would be the record then at that point? Like 5-10 or something.
They've played 11 games to now.
Yeah, but and
yeah, if they go in like 5-11, like 6-10, like I think that you could 6-10. Still, I don't know if I'd fire him, because I don't know if bringing in a new guy necessarily helps at that point. I don't know.
So, and I like to think of it in football terms, because that's when you can, look at the season kind of in a macro in terms of when coaches get fired. Right now, to fire Montgomery would be the equivalent of, just games-wise, firing an NFL head coach 2 games into the season. And if you're up there around, the Thanksgiving mark, that's more like a quarter of the way. It's a big enough sample maybe at that point if things are completely off the rails. But I agree with you, Fred. They string together 2-3 wins in a row. And more importantly, to your point, John, the defense plays better, stops this standing around, watching the puck, and just making really dumb tactical mistakes, like putting everybody behind the net and leaving a goal scorer out in front of your goalie all alone in the slot to get a puck and just fire it home with no one there to stop them. You stop doing things like that, things change on a dime.
I just looked, Fred. They've played 11 games. They have 13 more games between now and Thanksgiving.
Okay, they have 13 more games.
So that would be 24 games total.
Okay.
So yeah,
before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so I guess Thanksgiving you would make the determination.
You could make the call then. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into the Jets game now? Or you want to keep it? You want to save it?
Oh, you got to save it because, I mean, I really want to get my thumbs into it.
A lot of meat on that bone, Fred.
You know? Really get into it. Really get
One of the best catches I've ever seen.
The audience,
last night.
The audience demands that we really get into it. No,
it's Thursday night football.
It is Thursday night. We do it with every team.
Highly anticipated matchup between the Texans and your division rival New York Jets. We will do that when we continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Well, we were just.
Oh, it's the makeup.
That's right, and it's the Day of the Dead, so, you know.
Today's the Day of the Dead?
Yes.
What's Day of the Dead?
It's a holiday celebrated primarily in the southwestern American states and the Latino culture. It's Los Dias de los Muertos.
Adolfo Colin.
Yes, we should get Adolfo on the line. No, Hardy and I, when we lived in Albuquerque, this is a big deal down there.
I didn't pay attention to any of that crap.
Really?
Speak American, damn it.
Jerk.
And you don't like the Misfits, huh? You're not a fan.
You know, no, I never was, but perhaps it's one of those acts that I need to revisit here in middle age.
I don't have a problem with the Misfits. I'd never call myself a fan because that'd be false. That'd be a poser. I mean, I know who they are and I know some of the songs, but to call myself a fan would not be genuine.
Did you like the Alkaline Trio?
I did enjoy Alkaline Trio. The first
That said, we had enough. Put Walk Among Us on and turn it up.
Yep.
What's Walk Among Us?
That's a Misfits song. Yeah.
Misfits album.
Misfits album. Clearly, I need a revisit. But actually, now that you mention Alkaline Trio, I'll probably listen to that record this weekend.
Been listening to a lot of Alkaline Trio because I'm very emotional.
Yes, you are.
Do you know my Alkaline Trio story?
No.
Do you want to hear it very quickly?
Yes, please.
Alkaline Trio came up. They were supporting an album. I had seen the Alkaline Trio on the Goddammit tour, opening up for Johnny Sacco and MU330.
Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. Hell yeah.
2 ska bands. And I saw them at a club that had probably about a 15-year-old selling beer out of a refrigerator. When I say it was a club, it was a space. It was not legal.
And it was when you say refrigerator, you don't mean like a bar cooler. You mean like an Amana freezer on top, refrigerator on the bottom.
Like you have like one that was in your house 40 years ago. Like
Sure.
like it was like basically a squat.
Or in my house now, basically. Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, look on the TV. Dia de los Muertos.
Well, it's a lot in the Woo.
Right.
That's what they're calling Worcester. Worcester now.
No, Worcester.
That's Woburn. They call the Woo.
No. They're calling Worcester the Woo.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, hell yeah, the Woo Sox.
Woburn's going to have something to say about that.
And so anyway, they came up to, and I interviewed them when I was doing nights, and I said, I've told this story before, but I said I still gives me douche chills though. I said, I was at this show at the 513 in the club, and they're like, you were? And I'm like, yeah, that's where I first saw you, and I bought Goddammit. And they're like, oh my God. They're like, are you coming to the show tonight? And I'm like, I'll come. And I'm like, I don't get off until like midnight. And they're like, no, just come out. Like, you'll see the end of the show. So I said, okay. So I go to the masquerade, and I go, and I get in, and it's like, I see like the last 5 songs, and then I go walk backstage, and there's no one in there, and then I turn around, and Matt Skiba, the singer and guitar player, is coming out of the shower, and he's putting on underwear, and I stand there, and it's just me and him. Who showers at the masquerade? I have no idea. It's just like dump, like the shower. Like you couldn't pay me $1 million to go in that shower.
You're gonna come out of the shower less clean than when you went in.
Yeah, like you're gonna have to like rat droppings and semen and stuffs all over everything. But I'd never seen that. What? yes. Place you take pictures of girls. But so and then he looks at me and I look at him. And I didn't know what to do, and he goes, hi, and I go, hey, you told me to come back here, and he goes, yeah, later. Can you give me some space?
Oh no.
And I went, oh no, and I just turned around and left.
Yeah, that's all you can do.
Left the venue.
He left the venue.
Yeah.
Left the venue.
That's not bad. Yeah. That's not bad.
I don't know, but just the way he looked at me, like I was insane because I didn't know what to do.
Right.
The last thing I expected backstage at a crap. Now, the masquerade was like a real venue, but the last thing that I would expect, like, do people shower? Well, the Middle East isn't that bad.
How about this? Can the three of us agree there is maybe no more overrated place in popular culture than backstage?
Concert?
I
Without
agree with
question.
Sum 41 is the wildest backstage. I got laid there, but that was on their bus. So, like, some 41 was really is like very much the exception to the rule. It's usually just the road crew eating some kind of buffet meal.
They don't want you there.
No.
There's very rarely a big party going on, and if there is, you're almost certainly not invited.
No, you're an interloper.
Yes.
If there was a party, I probably could, in Atlanta could go, but but there never was. And I would in backstage.
Right.
Like backstage there wasn't. The tour bus there was. Like the guy from Papa Roach, say what you will for Papa Roach. The guy from Papa
Shaddix
was incredibly kind.
He's a really nice guy.
And
a really bad band.
Yeah. I mean, but he was like super cool. And so like there were bands that like NERD, Pharrell Williams was cool and like always wanted to hang out.
Yeah, you could have good hangs with people, but
they weren't
not
orgies,
at the venue.
But some 41 on the bus was in a whole naked girl, like normal girls stripping and like everyone getting laid. Like that was, and it was in the parking lot of the
Derek
Masquerade.
Whibley, him just a widow guy, huh?
They're all, except for Steve-O, the drummer. They were all little.
You remember
We
when
Canadian lads.
Some 41 did that Metallica tribute show, and you could tell some of the people like, oh, Some 41 are going to come up here, and I think they did Master of Puppets. Holy hell!
Yeah, they're a good rock band.
Unbelievable.
Well, they do Master of Puppets, like I think in every show. He just wrote an autobiography that just came out. He was molested by their manager for many, many years, who was a big punk guy in Canada.
Gross.
So yeah, not a good. And the band did not know until he wrote the book.
Back to your shower question, though, Fred.
Sure.
I get to where I
Keep this going.
no, but it's just we're trying to get to 10
You get
o'clock.
to where
I thought
you're
that was
bathing?
the whole point.
Well, we got a big game to talk about.
All right,
but
well,
go ahead.
let's get
no,
to that.
No.
I was just going to say, like, when you're a touring band, you take it where you can get it. Like those.
No,
guys at that
not the
point were
Masquerade.
probably just-
Not the Masquerade. I went to 100 shows at the Masquerade. There's never one band that ever showered there. No.
Okay.
Nope. You're wrong.
All I'm saying is, if I'd been a touring band living out of my van, no hotel rooms, and I haven't showered in 6 days,
By then they at least had like an RV. They look, when they played that 513 club, they were definitely in a van, and I get it. No,
okay,
you're big enough to play the Masquerade and headline. That's the size of the Middle East. Like I don't know if you're touring in a van. What? How many of the Middle East get in there?
Like what is
1,000?
No, I don't think it's 1,000 downstairs. It's like a couple hundred upstairs.
Yeah,
and
no,
maybe
but downstairs. So it's 800.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, you're playing in front of 800 people. You're not. You don't have to shower at the Masquerade. All right, the Masquerade might have been 800, 1,000. Go ahead. All right, what do we got? What happened last night?
575 downstairs. Well, that's smaller than I thought. Malachi Corley almost got on the board first for the Jets last night as they were playing host to the Houston Texans, but it all went wrong.
Malachi Corley, as he got into the end zone, dropped the football. And they are going to make sure that he didn't drop the ball before he broke the plane. Malachi Corley, it turns out, makes a rookie mistake. He dropped the ball before he broke the plane at the end zone.
Yes, he did.
It's funny. We were watching them. My son goes, he by the way, he dropped the ball before he got in. And I went, oh, no. And then do you guys know the rule at that point? You don't, right? So the rule is
we see it like happen once a year,
Right.
and I never remember what it
so
is.
if you drop the ball at the goal line and it rolls into the end zone, if the offense recovers it, it's a touchdown. If the defense recovers it, it's a touchback. If the ball rolls out of bounds, it's a touchback. If the ball sits and just sits in, and then they blow the play dead while the ball's just sitting there, the ball goes back to where it was fumbled. So what happened is the ball, unluckily for Corley, the kid, his first carry, his first touchdown ever, he dropped it and it rolled 10 yards out of the end zone because he dropped it before the goal line and it rolled 10 yards out of the end zone. So and then no one touched it. Did you guys know those were the rules? You learn something every day.
I didn't know the
No,
not
you didn't
touching
know
the ball
the
rule.
right. You didn't know the rules. Come
Later in the half,
I just taught you something. Just a minute.
Later in the half, the Jets with a 75-yard punt would pin Houston back on their own 2. They would drive 13 plays, get on the board first, 7-0. 7-7 later on when Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson hooked up.
Takes the snap, 4-man rush. Lobs one left. Into the end zone for Garrett Wilson. One-handed catch! Incredible! Did he get 2 feet down? Well, you may have heard the ruling just as we come back. What you are certainly hearing in the background is MetLife Stadium coming apart at the seams and celebrating an incredible touchdown catch by Garrett Wilson.
He did not get 2 feet down, but he got a foot and maybe his shin before
No,
the
he
knee
got his
went
shin.
up.
Well, I mean, they reviewed it 55 times. He got his shin in.
It's very close. But
yeah,
it's a touchdown.
But it was a touchdown, and it's
And after watching that catch, I wanted it to be a touchdown.
of course everyone
exactly
did.
how I felt about
Texans fans wanted that to be a
Yes,
touchdown.
that's what you. If you watch the NFL, you want that play to count.
So they're calling it they were referring it to Jordan in like air, and if you look at the still of his catch, he's doing the Jordan, like it looks like the Jordan logo. He's got his arm all the way back. It's the Odell Beckham catch, but it's in the back of the end zone, and it's better. It's better than the Odell Beckham catch because he's in the back of the end zone and he had to get his ankle down.
Was it OBJ along the side right near the pylon?
But the way that Garrett Wilson had no room to work with, because the OBJ catch was he's falling back and caught. It's a great catch. It's a phenomenal catch. It made him famous. This Garrett Wilson catch, he does everything that Odell Beckham Jr. did, but he's falling out of the end zone and cannot get 2 feet in, so he has to adjust his leg in that Jordan pose so his leg lands with his ankle down. Like and his ankle's got to hit before his knee. It's insane. He's so good.
And you know what? He made another on another night where he didn't make that catch. The other touchdown catch he made was almost as good. On the run, one hand, defender right in front of him has to focus while the ball somehow gets by the defender in front of him, reaches out with the right hand, brings it in, and runs for a touchdown. That catch by itself would have been a highlight for a few days.
Rodgers was very off in the first half, and Garrett Wilson saved his ass a bunch of times.
2 fantastic catches.
What I like about that first one-handed catch is for a while we were seeing a lot of guys trying this, and they were making one-handed catches that, in my mind, weren't necessary. You know, you see a great one-handed catch and people are celebrating. Like, you know what? That would have been a lot less spectacular and easier had you gotten your other hand up there. Because, and I haven't seen it this season, but in previous seasons, saw guys making one-handed catches just because they could. This one, he couldn't. The only way to catch that ball was to extend himself, get one arm up there into the path of the ball that was going to sail out of the back of the end zone. He snagged it. He got a foot and a shin down, and Jets would go on to win. And Aaron Rodgers, he was saying what a lot of people didn't want to say beforehand, that this kind of approached a must-win situation.
Kind of season on the line there in the second half. Obviously, we wouldn't have been mathematically eliminated, but mentally, to go to 2-7 would have been real tough. Hopefully, it's give us confidence so that we can beat anybody because we feel like we could.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Not bad.
You should get ahead of yourself.
Not bad so far, Aaron. But then, in a classic case of this guy just won't let you like him.
The way we played on offense in the second half is the way we've been kind of waiting for this offense to wake up. And I know, obviously, I was, close to perfection as I needed to be, but that's a standard I need to play at.
Jesus Christ. Stop after season on the line in the second half, and hopefully we can continue this. Stop there. Don't say I was as close to perfection as I needed to be.
And what's funny
Don't
is that he said before that he was bad in the first half. But I guess just to so you don't think that, he's too humble. He tells you that he was as close to perfection because that pass to Garrett Wilson that he made one of the greatest catches of all time on, was perfection by him, just chucking it up randomly and having a receiver, reach behind him and get his ankle in. That was perfection. He played well in the second half. There's no question.
So he must have thrown for like 400 yards last night if he was perfection, right?
No, but the first half he was terrible. He threw for 3 touchdowns in the second half. They got touchdowns on all their possessions except for the kneel down. I mean, he played really well, but he also ran. They called it back, but he finally ran because last night the TV crew started saying, Aaron's taking a lot of sacks that other quarterbacks don't take. They finally started saying it. I like Buck. I like Michaels, obviously, and I like Herb Street. I like them both. I think they do a really good job when Michaels is invested, and he got invested in the second half. But they finally started saying, some of these sacks Aaron Rodgers taking, which is the point I've been trying to make all year. But again, no one watches all the games. I don't. I just watch their games and the Patriot games. He takes the offensive line sucks. No, it doesn't. He doesn't move. Again, C.J. Stroud yesterday, who's not very good this year, but he's getting killed. They sacked him 8 times. He again rolls out, extends a play, touchdown pass. Like he has that ability. Like if you can't do that in the NFL now, if you can't stretch plays out, because you're not going to get 3 seconds to throw, right? Like and then if you want 5-6 seconds to throw, 5 seconds, you got to be running. You got to be have your eyes downfield and be taken off laterally. That's what you got to do, and you got to be able to throw on the run. That's it. And believe me, look, I know Brady was a pocket guy and didn't throw a lot on the run, but he's a totally different animal.
He was able, the magic of Brady was he was able to give himself that extra half second.
Micro movements.
Shuffle step in the pocket to clear that arm just for a moment to get that pass off.
Yeah.
That was his greatness.
Yeah, micro movements. And if he had to, he'd just get rid of the ball right away. All right, we'll be back. Bert Breer, of course, is not here because it would be so luxuriously early to be 2 minutes early. We will be back with him in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Every Friday night, FanDuel is giving all.
Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And what's in there?
Wow, Bert just swallowed 2 Advil dry. Whoa.
Yeah, that's a guy who's done his share of opiates. He knows how to get. He knows how to get a Vicodin down.
That's how we're starting.
Well, I don't think that you learn how to swallow Advil dry.
I'm recovering.
Yeah, well, listen.
I have a little bit of a beat up ankle, so Dr. Hardy over here prescribed 2 Advil.
No, I prescribed 3, but you wanted 1. I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah.
You and my.
Well, I haven't built up the tolerance for it that you have.
You and my son.
Fair.
My son called me yesterday from school, and he's like, he's not supposed to play basketball because of his shoulder, because he's rehabbing his shoulders, but he's lefty. And he's like, Dad, I was dunking with my right hand at school, and I hit the rim, and I fell and twisted my ankle. And I went, oh God. And he's like, and I'm like, is it swollen? And he's like, and I can tell he's with kids because he's saying the F word a lot. He's like,
Trying to
these things, my ankle, my effing ankle, effing I was effing this and effing, and then I'm like, ugh. And then he went to the nurse, and the nurse said, go screw. She said that there's nothing wrong with it, so go on your way. And then they gave him Vicodins, and he was on his way.
Well, this is one of those old man injuries for me where it's like I have no idea how it happened. It just popped up.
Oh, Did you run this morning?
Love those, yeah. And
you got up, ran
You ran
and
in
showered.
the dark.
I was okay. It was okay.
No. I'm not concerned about your ankle. Again, just the schedule is to get up, to do the Amazon.
I want to have some. I want to have some energy when I come in here. And my theory with this stuff is always like, and this goes back to like when I was on the road a million nights a year, but it's always been like I will wind up with more energy from the 30 minutes running than I would from the 30 extra minutes of sleep. I think it's good logic. I really do. Huh?
Sure. Do you ever lift weights?
Yeah.
Okay. How often do you lift weights?
A couple times a week if I'm lucky. Like, it's harder to get to the gym. It's easy to go running because I can just do it whenever. You know what I mean?
If you had to run, could you run a marathon?
I have. I ran 2.
No, but right now, could you run a marathon?
No. Well, that'd take a lot of training. I probably could if I trained for it, yeah.
Okay.
But it would take, I mean, the training is the worst part of running a marathon. Like, running the marathon's actually really, it's a cool experience. It's hard, but like what's a pain in the ass is the actual training. And like every Saturday has to revolve around like 3 or 4 hour runs. And I remember, I was in my like late 20s when I ran it those 2 times. I think 29 and 30 were the two years that I ran it. And you're like, it's like, okay, so Friday you really don't want to do much because you're going to wake up early Saturday and run. And then Sunday, you're going to feel beat up because, so there's your weekend. Although it was fun to go out and drink after those runs because it would
guilt feel empty. Oh, yeah.
The alcohol was effective.
This is what worries me, and this is what I'm afraid of when it comes to, ever thinking about, and I've never really entertained, running a marathon. Being alone with my own thoughts on those 3-hour training runs. Like, how is it not?
Well, no, you run, like, for the training runs, you run with groups. So, like, that part of it
also
like,
terrifying.
That's how I met my wife.
If you fall behind, yeah.
Not even, no. You got to spend 3 hours with people who are.
Just stop there.
Not
3 hours with people.
See, I don't know though, like, because like that was like honestly like that's part of the. So I hated distance running when I was a kid. Like the sports I did were all like the conditioning in those sports was
they're dance related.
Were sprints.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I hated
Jump
long
rope.
distance running. My dad ran long distance when I was a kid, and he was the same as me. Didn't like distance running when he was a kid either. So, like as I got more into it, I actually liked the solitude of it. Like I actually like I can put in a podcast, or I can kind of organize my thoughts for the day. Like I actually wound up liking like the isolation of it.
I have a question. You say you run for a half an hour. How far do you go?
This morning,
you run for a half an hour. How far can you run in half an hour?
This morning was like 3.35, something like that.
Okay,
Very good.
All right, so not
I run
fast.
under
but
10
fast
minutes.
for just an early morning run. That's fast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's under 10-minute.
I don't
miles.
know. I don't think you would classify it as fast.
It's fast for me.
It's fast for a lot of people, Bert.
Yeah.
It's fast for me. I mean, I ran that 5K. I ran it in just at 30 minutes, and that was hard for me.
But my logic with the whole thing is like, and I've always felt this way, is like I will get, like last week when I was on with you guys from Los Angeles, I ran that morning.
No, I know.
At 3 a.m.
You told us.
And the reason why, and it's just, to me, it's like that half hour is like I will get more energy from running in that half hour than I would from sleeping.
All right. So do you? So you met your wife on these runs? It was like a group that was
Yeah,
put
it was
together.
part of like a marathon group. Well, actually, like I actually met her at a Halloween party, then didn't remember it, and then met her again at the marathon training run. At
Right.
which point she said to me, "Yeah, we've met before."
You were.
You were memorable, and she was not. Is what you're saying.
Drinking.
Yeah, I was drinking. That's right. Yeah.
Did you ever say, "Honey, I may lose control of my bowel"?
I made a great first impression.
Do you realize this?
Oh God.
There's
here
a
we
good
go.
chance that I.
Well, I mean, you brought this up.
When
You,
one-
you
I
added
did.
that in.
I
What do you
did.
think was going to happen?
We've hit mile 20. Whoops! It's all down my leg.
But the
What
training,
have I done?
the training
I'm a
for it,
bad boy.
dude. The training for it, like that's the thing, is like the training for it is so. It just consumes everything, and then you're around these people who don't want to talk about anything else but the training for it. You know, and you know those types. So
Yes.
yeah.
Not good.
Yeah. There's something kind of annoying about people that are strangely like really jacked. Like there's like a lot of them.
But what type of gym? Is it a Gold's or is it just a normal?
Yeah, I go
health
to a
club?
Gold's gym. No,
I mean, like,
no,
what-
it's like
no, I'm saying what type
it's
of
an
gym?
it's an upscale. It's an upscale health club, like a big upscale health club in Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
So, but there's
Like a Lifetime Fitness.
it's like it's a lifetime.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily. I'm like one of the older people, I would say there, and the people that are there and they're like teens and 20s and 30s, and even some people that are around my age are like the dudes are like strangely like jacked. They're like very muscular. It's very odd to me. You don't. I even in Atlanta, I didn't see that very often.
Well, but I think that's like sort of more of a sign of the times too, because like if you go like into an Equinox, right? Like then you'll see people who have like the means to do all this different stuff and all like who knows what they're on. Like when I was in high school, I feel like GNC was like new. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, and taking the idea of taking supplements, like, I mean, we were pumping God knows what, like,
Rip Fuel was Rip Fuel was White Crosses.
Rip Fuel, and you guys remember Ultimate Orange?
No.
Ultimate Orange got banned really quick. We took that for football, and that was like, I mean, you might as well have been just like drinking pure ephedra.
That's what Rip Fuel.
And that's
was,
what Rip Fuel
ephedra,
was
yeah.
too. But like Ultimate Orange, like I think like a couple people like legitimately had heart attacks and died, and they took it out of the store. If you guys look it up.
Yeah, Fierce used to eat Rip Fuel, like just eat it. He would take scoops and just scoop it in his mouth, and yeah.
You know what? I can see
And
that.
there were
I've
all
only
kinds
met
of-
the man twice.
Yeah,
I can see that.
But that was the only amphetamine.
And
he
then
was taking.
there were all kinds of like arguments over whether or not creatine was effective, like because that was new at
Well,
the
now
time.
they tell my son to take creatine.
Do they? Okay,
Yeah.
so creatine is still popular. Okay.
Creatine's supposed to be. I don't know what the disadvantage is. Someone would have to educate me on it. But my understanding is that creatine helps the muscle heal, which allows you to train harder.
That sounds like something else.
What, hormones?
Well, no, I mean it's what allows the muscle to heal. That's the principle of steroids, right?
Yeah,
recovery.
but,
Like,
heal
but,
faster.
Steroids don't make you strong. They just allow you to recover faster, so you can keep working out.
I don't know if that's necessarily all they do. All right, Bert Breer is the senior NFL reporter. I think that the creatine's created by the body, and it's
It's an actual natural thing.
It's
yeah.
but its purpose. Its purpose is different than like protein or hormones. It's a little bit different than that. Bert Breer is a senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB Getting Down to Business with Bert Breer is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. We will continue with him. We'll actually get into football in just a moment.
You're listening to
Breer is here. So, Bert, last time you were in here, we were talking about what was happening with Gerard Mayo, and the team was soft, and everyone was up in arms, and here we go. They go, and the Jets come into town, and they drive the field twice and end up winning that game. The Patriots do. And what is the mood like, are you hearing, with the Patriots right now?
Well, I think it's in a better place than it was a week ago, obviously. And, I think what the game against the Jets shows is that the team had his back. That was an adverse spot to be in. To come back off a trip from London, you guys remember, like, it used to be that it was automatic that you would have a bye after making the trip from London. So they make the trip from London, no bye, and come back. And after, not only did Gerard Mayo call them soft in the media, he called them soft to their faces right before he went up and stood up there at the podium, and to get the response that he did, I think shows the team's still behind Gerard Mayo. And I think these are all tests for, first-year coaches, guys who've never been in those positions before, is, when you do these things, when you stick your neck out, when, you misspeak or you say something bold or different, something that creates headlines like this did, how's the team going to come out and look the next time around? And I think they did show their toughness in that game. I think both mentally and physically you saw that. And in particular, I got in a big argument with Beadle over this yesterday, but I really think the play call at the very end, when you could not have called a more simple play than what they did, where it was just line up and hat on a hat, we're going to push the ball over the goal line on fourth down, and they were able to get that done. So I think there's a lot of positive to come from it. We talked about style of play and how you could see, Dan Campbell, for example, the style of play even when they were really bad in Detroit.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan, you could see style of play. And with the Niners when they were 0-9 or 0-10 in 2017, I think you can see style of play here. And I do think to some degree it reset them a little bit and got them back to what they were trying to be at the beginning of the season.
So that brings up a point that we touched on a little bit, but style of play for the Patriots with Jacoby Brissett in a quarterback as opposed to Drake May. They fundamentally change anything? Was there fewer plays that they were running? Were they doing anything differently? Because it certainly looks different, but I was wondering, this appears to be a little more effective.
I don't know
the way they were doing it, and the defense played better too, which helps.
Full disclosure, I haven't looked at the shotgun versus under center stuff, but it does seem like they were probably in the shotgun more when May was in there. And that's a product of doing things to make him feel more comfortable. They have concepts in Alex Van Pelt's offense that cross over with what Drake did in North Carolina. You're obviously going to lean a little bit more into that, but I think part of it too is being able to keep the score under control, being able to keep down and distance under control, and it's easy to say we're going to run the ball and be a physical team and all of that until you're in third and long, until you're down by 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. Then you can't be that anymore. So a big product of this is just simple game management too. And I think there have been times this year when they've gotten away from it, when it was really maybe a product of the type of game they were playing in, where they fell behind or they're in bad down and distance. They can't block the defensive front of the other team, that sort of stuff.
All right. So you were talking on Amazon yesterday about the importance of ownership. I think that what you were getting at, and you had made a point earlier in the week that ownership can't necessarily win you games, but it can certainly lose them. If I'm quoting you correctly, what are bad owners doing wrong? Why do owners make teams bad? There's obviously guys in Carolina or Dan Snyder, but what about owners that you don't hear a lot about?
It was funny when it was funny because when I tweeted that, everybody I knew this was going to happen, which is part of why I did it. That about like 12 fan bases jumped on and immediately thought I was talking about their team, which sort of tells you where it is.
Yeah.
I do think that there's like a third base element to this, right? Like a born on third base element where, and I'm not saying the individual owners work because there are a lot of guys who've made their own money. But like the NFL is a very profitable enterprise, and these guys are making hundreds of millions of dollars before they lift a finger and make any of it on their own, right? So before you sell a ticket or sell a local sponsorship or any of that separate stuff, like the NFL is literally handing you a check, and you have nothing to do with that, really. You know, like you're not a genius. Like football on TV is football on TV.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of these guys have this idea that they're all like, not only are they titans of their own industry, they're titans of, the sports industry, and they've earned the right to have their hands in everything. And the reality is, it's a very different business, and it's run differently than what a lot of these guys are used to. And you see where these guys step in potholes. And I think one of the primary things that you see like across the board in owners trying to get too involved is like, who are they talking to and who are they listening to? Like, I remember hearing this story, and I think Jimmy Haslam's gotten better with this, but like, I remember hearing this story about Jimmy Haslam early in his time in Cleveland, which was over 10 years ago now. And he would like go to the assistant offensive line coach and ask him what was going on. And then he would run it up to the head coach and go to him with it and think he was helping. Like, that doesn't help, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And so like we talked about this with Woody Johnson yesterday. He listens to so many people. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many non-football people in his ear. There are a lot of yes men around him. And then on top of that, he's really listening to what's going on the internet. There are other owners that listen to what's going on sports radio. And can you imagine, like, for an NFL head coach or a general manager who's trying to build their program, and they're legitimately like at the mercy of an owner who is coming to you with questions that were asked at like 1:30 on the local sports radio station, or that he saw from some idiot on Twitter.
Right.
I mean, like, and that's, like, that's where these things can really, like, that's where uneasiness festers. Like, that's why, like, people in the Jets building feel like Woody Johnson is so unpredictable. It's like, I like that the solid thing, and like, and you guys know I've got a relationship with Robert, but like, I'm not saying like his record put him in peril. Like, that's the reason he was in the situation he was in, where his job was in jeopardy, right? So I'm not arguing that. But the players in that locker room had a legitimate question, right? Which was, what does this accomplish? Okay, and if you think about it, like, well, what does it accomplish? Well, all right, so the strength of the team's the defense. You're pulling the architect of the defense out of the equation. You're taking a good defensive coordinator now and spreading him thin because he's got to learn how to become a head coach on the fly, and you're making the change on offense simultaneously. How is that going to make us a better team? Or are you just looking to go and get your pound of flesh because you heard some people complaining on Twitter about the state of the team when they were 2-3, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like, does that help anything? Did he make the team better by firing Robert Saleh? No, right? Like they got no spark. They're worse off for it. So like it's an example of, and then Woody hears it on Twitter and then goes to his crew of yes men who just want to make him happy, and like gets affirmation there, does what he wanted to do in the first place, and screws the team up. And oh, by the way, on the back end of that, now everybody in the building, well, we have an unpredictable owner. I don't know what to.
Right.
I don't know what to expect day to day now. And like, I mean, I'd say that building over the last month has been toxic, and I think you saw it in the first half last night. And I don't know what happened at halftime, but like all of a sudden it was like, well, wait a minute, like Aaron Rodgers somehow put his foot in the ground and changed it.
But the scary thing for the Jets organization is I don't know that anything happened. I don't know that there was any inspirational speech, or there was any like
throwing a ball up to Garrett Wilson on 3rd and 19.
That's it. It was finally
the kid make a play.
One of those magical sports moments where LeBron remembers he's LeBron, or in this case, Aaron Rodgers remember. Oh, wait a second, I'm still Aaron Rodgers a little bit, and I've got Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. I can make a couple of plays here, and if the defense did their job,
I mean,
That's
really,
what
it was
took to
two
win that
play-
game.
Really, it
last
was
night.
2 plays.
2
right?
plays. Yeah.
2 plays in the defensive line.
So
like their defensive line,
I don't know if there was
after C.J. Stroud, which was a huge
Yeah, they had
part.
8 sacks.
I don't know
they
if there
had
was
8
a moment
sacks
of
and then-
clarity anywhere within that organization last night.
No, I mean, I think there's a good chance they go and lose to Arizona next week.
Okay, yeah, but I could also make the argument that
Arizona's good. Arizona's better than you think.
No, I know, and I could also make the argument that if the Jets had a kicker, they could be what would it be now 6-3? I mean,
so someone made that argument to me yesterday when I was vetting all my information on this, and I do get that, but like,
well, it's because it's true.
But
I mean,
you shouldn't be,
Zerline
but you shouldn't be in that situation against the Patriots.
No, you shouldn't be. In the Patriot game, I don't put that in. But in that Denver game, like sometimes you're going to struggle on the road, and you
But
need
you
your
should
kicker.
be better than Denver.
I know, but you should. But if it's a close game, you have a veteran kicker that should be able to make a 50-yard field goal to win the game.
when you went and got Aaron Rodgers, you shouldn't be in a 10-9 game.
I know, but but games like that are going to happen that come down to a field goal.
Right.
I mean, is Houston a decent team? I mean,
Houston's a good team. No,
if Houston has a kicker yesterday, I mean, the game's different too. He missed an extra. He missed a field goal. Did he mix an extra point?
And I understand what you're saying. I mean, I also would
don't really believe that, but I mean, I could see the.
I also would say you could probably pick those games apart and find little things the other team did where it's like, oh yeah, well if they had done
the
this
Patriots game certainly.
then maybe they would have won by 2 scores, right?
No, the Patriots game certainly. If the Patriots could hang on to the ball and they didn't have stupid penalties, yes, the Patriots could have won that game.
And that's
by a lot.
that's where like the idiocy of the Patriots argument that they could be at 5 wins or whatever is. I mean, it's asinine. It's like you're seeing this team with a rookie quarterback and a first-year head coach. Like you're presuming that everything was going to go right. Like you should build in that things are going to go wrong.
Okay, so let's talk about the rookie quarterbacks and where Drake May falls in. It is interesting because Bo Nix, I guess, has started to play better because Denver's winning.
I wouldn't go overboard with that, but he has gotten better. Yeah.
Right, but he played so much college football. I heard a thing.
Daniels played almost as much. They're right there.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that I've been hearing this there's because it was in reference to Anthony Richardson that there's like this minimum of college football starts that a quarterback you draft should have.
I have a chart. Like actually, like that I could show you guys in the break. I don't know if I can.
You don't need to get specific.
But the number I've heard is 25 is minimum.
Okay, so 25 is the minimum, and so I'll just ask you with Richardson, and then we can fold May into this. With Richardson, I was actually talking about this with John off the air. So you start Richardson as a rookie, plays all right, he gets hurt. You start him this year, he's terrible completion percentage. But he hasn't played any football. Like, how many starts did he have at Florida? Do you remember? Like
13.
13, right?
Yeah.
So not even like an NFL season's worth of starts. You would think at this point he needs to play.
So honestly that's the Trey Lance conundrum, right? Like I think it's the Trey Lance. Like I think it's Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson are the same this way. I'm not saying Anthony Richardson is going to wind up like Trey Lance, but the problem you have is, and we've talked about this with the Patriots. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Quentin Nelson, DeForest Buckner, those guys don't care about your 3-year plan. Those guys don't care about like who the quarterback is in 2026. Those guys care about winning and performing individually and being in position to make more money right now. And the fastest way to lose a locker room is to give them a bad answer at that question, at that position. So it sounds good. It sounds good to say, okay, we're going to take this year and throw it completely overboard.
But Bert, with Richardson, why wouldn't you not start him his rookie year and let him learn? No.
Hurt.
Why would you not start him? Like, why would the plan not to have been to not start him? Like, I'm saying they should have not started him his rookie year.
Oh, you
play him this year. So, because like once you bench a kid,
it's hard to go back.
It's hard to go back, I've heard ex-coaches say that.
Yeah,
I mean, Mac Jones.
I probably can't talk about this as eloquently as like a quarterback guru could, but there are certain guys that come into the NFL where you hear they need to sit, and generally it means that they need to be rebuilt fundamentally in some way. Like Drake was one of those. Jordan Love coming in was one of those. where it's like there's fundamentally a few things that they need to fix before you want to throw them out there, because you don't want them perpetuating bad habits. And then there are other guys where it's like, no, fundamentally they're okay, but they just haven't seen enough. And like the advantage of being like a Bo Nix with 61 college starts or a Jaden Daniels with 55 college starts is the volume of stuff you've seen in your head. Even if it's a college defense, you've looked across the line and you've seen this so many times and you've come up with so many different answers, and like you just have a different level of a different level of processing ability if you've seen that much more than the next guy has. And the premise with an Anthony Richardson or a Trey Lance is they just haven't seen enough, and they need that library built up. And so you've got to get them out there, and you have to let them make their mistakes. Justin Fields was one of these where it's like he just has to keep seeing it and seeing it and seeing it, because the only way he's ever going to be able to see the field faster is if you give him the opportunity to build the library in his head, so these things become reflex.
Will there become a point where teams are, and especially with NIL money and everything, that teams are going to be like hesitant to draft a kid that hasn't played more college football? Like,
so I think that was like, yeah, I mean, I think that's the effect of Brock Purdy having the success that he did, was like that's when you really started to hear the reps thing come up a lot, because Brock Purdy played a lot at Iowa State. I think he had over 40 starts in college, 4-year starter, and played on teams that weren't great there, right? Like, so he had to be the best player in the field pretty consistently. Breece Hall was there too, but those two guys had to carry the team, so he had seen a lot. I think it's become more and more of a factor now. And, there was a huge divide between 3 of the guys and the other 3 of the guys, where you had 3-year college guys, and Caleb, Drake, and JJ McCarthy. And all 3 of those guys came out after 3 years. And then the other 3, Penix, Jaden, and Bo Nix, all had been multi-year starters at 2 different schools and 2 different major conferences.
Purdy, by the way, 48.
48, yeah. So like he was the one, though. And if you compare it and you look like Alex Smith is a great example. So Alex Smith didn't have a lot of reps throwing the ball at Utah. Like they ran like an option offense there. So he had played, but like he hadn't seen a ton in the passing game. And so it took a long time. It took him time to develop that library. Like he was seen as a bust for the first 4 years of his career. And then all of a sudden, like you get down the line and now he looks pretty good because he's built that library up. It's an interesting thing, and I think it's an important thing, and it's something that's a huge advantage that somebody like Jaden Daniels has. Jaden Daniels has seen a lot of things. He's been able to like not only succeed, he's been able to fail. People talk about the guys that he played with at LSU, which is fair, right? He had 2 first-round picks at receiver and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. He had probably 2 first-round tackles, these kids who are coming out this year. But before that, he played at Arizona State. And he was in like a little bit of a dumpster fire situation, if you remember, with them getting put on probation and all of that. So, like, even that, like, he's seen a lot. Like, because he's seen the game in different contexts.
You wonder how helpful it's going to be for Jaden Daniels, too, to have a game where he plays poorly like he did against Chicago and then ultimately win the game just because he's able to,
recall that.
Yeah.
There's a recall.
Yeah. Have that like mental picture in his head and say, I don't know if it's going to necessarily result in a win, but in terms of your overall attitude and the way you approach a game, the way you handle it mentally,
spin into a ditch.
Yeah, you've got a nice little mental picture there of how things can happen and change instantly, so you don't get too down on yourself in a game when you're playing poorly.
Bo Nix, like great example, like fell on his face at Auburn, and he was like a legacy there. His dad was a starting quarterback on an undefeated Auburn team, like just collapsed at the end at Auburn. No one thought he could play. And then he goes to Oregon, and they have a couple of great years, but he still has, like you said, that recall to look back at, like, okay, like I remember what it was like when I fell on my face, versus somebody like Caleb Williams, who like did a nice job of compartmentalizing on Sunday, but like he always was on the team with the best players. J.J.
Yes.
McCarthy was always on the team. Like
Right.
90% of the games that J.J. McCarthy started, roll the balls out, we win. Same thing, Justin Fields, another one, like played at Georgia and Ohio State. Like how many games was he in where his teammates weren't vastly superior to
Caleb
the other
Williams' his last year at USC wasn't particularly
that's-
good.
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the
so-
thing.
all right.
But he
gets
wasn't
that-
good at all,
yeah, right.
and he had close to 40 games as a starter.
All
So,
right.
I mean,
It is true. All right. So, well, listen, we can get into where Drake May fits into all these things. Bert Breer from the MMQB is in studio with us. We will continue with him. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins got blown out by the Carolina Hurricanes last night down in North Carolina, 8-2. Andrei Svechnikov and Jack Roslovic each scored twice for Carolina. It is the most goals the Bruins have given up since Jim Montgomery became the head coach here. They'll be in Philadelphia to play the Flyers tomorrow. Celtics will visit the Charlotte Hornets this evening. It's the opener of a back-to-back against this team. Sam Hauser listed as probable again. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots had every active player on the roster on the field at practice yesterday. They visit Tennessee on Sunday. Drake May, a limited participant again as he continues his way through concussion protocol. And after major elbow surgery cost him all of this past baseball season, Red Sox pitcher Lucas Giolito has picked up his $19 million player option for the Red Sox for 2025. Sports Hub headlines are driven by the rugged Honda Pilot. Head to your local New England Honda dealers to learn more and see their lineup of rugged vehicles. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8 o'clock.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports.
Sportsbook, make every moment more with FanDuel. Have you heard anything, Bert, about the status of Drake May as he gets over this concussion?
Well, yeah, it sounds like he's trending towards playing. You hate to say anything with absolutes with this stuff because obviously it's very black and white, the way that they go through the protocol and all of that. But it seems like he's trending to get cleared, and that's relatively, remarkable just based on the fact that like this doesn't happen all that often where guys play the next week. So, good for him, and we'll see how it plays out on Sunday. I think again, like this is something that isn't, and I think people need to be clear about this. This is like, these are decisions that are made by the medical people, not the football people. And, I know a lot of people, we talked about this in the midday show yesterday where it was like, well, would you hold him out another week? I mean, that's kind of a slippery thing, like where now you're asking football people to make medical decisions, which, I don't think you want to put them
And then
in that
also
spot.
if you're a guy who they clear and the guy they play right away, you're like, well, why didn't you do it with this other kid? Where does May stand in terms of other rookie quarterbacks around the league? What are the impressions of him?
I mean, really good. The people I've talked to have said like it looks like they've got one, and it's funny because I still have this thing in my head that says like the number and the law of averages says that all three of them aren't going to make it. The three guys that went 1, 2, 3, but damn, it sure looks like it, doesn't it? Like I was so.
Who would you pick to fail right now?
I don't know. I mean, we've seen the least from Drake, so maybe Drake. You know what I mean? But I'm really impressed with Caleb Williams. Like I think I'm buying on him. Like I was almost more impressed with the way that he played on Sunday against Washington than I was when he threw for 300 yards a couple of weeks ago. Just because I think that's a really hard thing for a rookie quarterback to play, to be as shaky as he was for 3 quarters on the road in that sort of environment, to be able to compartmentalize that and bring them back in the fourth quarter, I thought was super impressive. And he made some throws in the fourth quarter of that game. I don't know how much of it you guys watched, but there was one off schedule throw he made to Keenan Allen where it was like, holy crap, how did he see him? So like I think Jaden's been the best rookie in the league. So I don't know which one of them is going to fail. The law of averages tells us that one of them is going to fail, but if you look at each of them individually in a vacuum, they all look super promising.
And that's very rare, huh? I mean,
really rare. Yeah. I mean, like, so I guess the cautionary tale would be 2012 because that year, if you remember, it was Luck, it was RG3, it was Ryan Tannehill and Brandon Weeden, and I think all 4 of them like got off to promising starts.
RG3 got ruined by Shanahan. He would have been good.
Hey,
you don't think so?
RG3 got ruined by RG3. Like RG3, I would say, I know way too much about that situation, but I would say like RG3. Like part of the problem was he had it in his head, and his dad had it in his head that he was going to become like this pocket passer, and so like. When he got hurt in December of that year, so here's the story. So he got hurt like this December of his rookie year, and so Kirk Cousins plays against Cleveland, and so they had been running like a version of the Baylor offense, and it was it was a lot of quarterback run stuff, everything you guys saw. And then Cousins comes in, and and Cousins is also a rookie, and they immediately revert to the old Shanahan offense.
Okay.
And so the next morning, Robert Griffith's dad calls Mike Shanahan and says, "Well, why aren't you doing that with Robert? It doesn't make sense to me." And my understanding is Mike Shanahan said something along the lines of, "Robert, your son is still 2 or 3 years away from running that offense," and I think that there was this feeling that they had done so much schematically to accommodate him, and Robert had done a great job of executing it. But he had it in his head that he was going to be something, and this was like the Russell Wilson problem too. Like he had that this in his head that he should be something that he wasn't at that point, and it wound up not. And because of the early success, you couldn't tell him anything, and then he had the owner on his side, which created a whole different problem because the owner wanted to sit next to the freaking guy at like courtside at like Wizards games. You know what I mean? And like the dynamic got completely screwed up by that. Then he hurts his knee. Then he re-injures his knee, and the whole thing went off the rails. But the biggest problem with Robert Griffin was like he wasn't what he thought he was early on. Like they had done a lot schematically to highlight him, and he had done a really great job with that. But he wasn't fully bought in on doing things that way, and so. Then he tried to be something he wasn't, and it didn't work, and it wound up screwing up his development completely. Like I would say, like the strength of what's happening with Russell Wilson now in Pittsburgh is that he had to see his job slipping away, and he had to see Justin Fields come in and go 4-2. And Russell Wilson, my understanding is now buying in to, I will play the way that I played in Seattle before because his career's on the line now.
Yeah. He still wears Mr. Unlimited under his eyes.
Oh Jesus!
I was. I don't know if at any level I have ever seen a football player wear eye black at practice.
Yeah, you said that before.
That was
high school.
Well,
maybe Pop Warner.
Well, I can still remember. When we were freshmen in high school, and for our first game, the program had come out the year before, and for our first game, we like a bunch of us had like all this crazy, whatever war paint on or whatever. We're all 14 years old.
Same thing.
And I remember we walked into the locker room, and our coach told us that if we didn't wipe that crap off our face, that the game was going to be canceled. So, I think that the idea of wearing that stuff to practice kind of like it was interesting.
Or you could be like Sauce Gardner and wear big old crosses under your eyes
There
and
you
then
go.
suck.
Real quick, is Jordan Love going to play against the Lions?
I think he's got a shot. He's got a shot. It's a huge game too.
The Lions.
I'm
best
so
team?
impressed. Like that. Like I think there's a chance now. Maybe this is like the injury to Christian Darrisaw is a big deal, but I mean I borderline think the three best teams in the NFC are in that division.
Oh, there you
and
go.
then Chicago's not bad either.
That's a good.
And the
division.
Lions. My favorite stat from last week.
Okay, we got to go.
My favorite stat from last week was at one point. The Lions had 9 net passing yards and 42 points.
Yes.
Yeah.
They
Jared Goff.
They're
efficient.
I think Goff's played great though. It's not him.
No, he's been very, but he has been efficient. But no, it was Gibbs and their defense. It was unbelievable. All right, Bert Breer, MMQB. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
When we come back, we have Adam and I have come up with the test for Hardy. Given his proclivities, we will figure out how correct and how well we know him in just a moment.
State.
the end zone. Touchdown.
Your home of the pass.
Yes.
98.5. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
The Bruins went through the first 10 minutes of their road game against Carolina without a shot on net. And things went downhill from there in an 8-2 loss to the Hurricanes. The Bruins did get a power play goal from Brad Marchand to tie the game at 1, but were down 4-1 after 20 minutes, and that was basically it for the night. Things remained bad for Jim Montgomery.
We had a lot of success the last 2 years, and we're first place in the league at Thanksgiving the last 2 years. We never achieved anything we wanted to. Right now, we're not happy. Nobody's happy with what's going on, but we will get out of it, and we will be better, and hopefully it creates a better result come playoff time.
They'll visit Philadelphia tomorrow afternoon. The Celtics continue their 4-game road trip with a back-to-back in Charlotte. Game 1 is tonight. Grandy and Max had the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots had everyone on the field at practice yesterday. Drake May was there. He was listed again as limited. He is working his way back from a concussion. Rookie wideout Jalen Polk was a full participant as well. Patriots visit Tennessee this Sunday. The Jets got 3 second-half touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers. They beat Houston 21-13. And Red Sox pitcher Lucas Giolito exercised his $19 million player option for next season yesterday. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Dave Portnoy, and Charlie McAvoy. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Get the
There's the potential there for big stuff.
98.5 The Sports Hub app. Get the app. In the office, in your car, in your footy pajamas, this is how Boston sports fans start their day.
I bet you're just jealous.
Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, we are Toucher and Hardy. You know who was here during the reporting of this was Adam Yauch.
That's right.
Bad brains. Pay to come. Bad brains. We are the Toucher and Hardy Show. You can watch us on YouTube. Search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And obviously the reason we played Pay to Come by the Bad Brains is because we're going to talk about Hardy and his crazy lifestyle. Well, Hardy yesterday showed me a picture, and it was of some truck that was painting the roads. And I don't want to get into too much into it, but he was talking about how he had struck up a conversation with the fellas, and I don't want to get into how, because it will we'll get into that during this exercise.
All right.
And so we know Hardy is a guy that hangs out around construction sites. We know that with the guy who fixes his AC, he bothered him. We heard from the guy. He was bothering him. Standing over his shoulder, like, you know, making sure everything was going okay. So Adam and I talked yesterday, and we came up with some scenarios in something we're calling...
Is Hardy gonna linger? Is Hardy gonna linger?
Oh, that's really nice.
That is very nice. Nice harmony.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is Hardy gonna linger?
I think the answer is yes to all of these.
No.
Or
just how on point are we?
Okay.
All right.
Now, have you made your guesses as to whether or not I will linger in these situations?
We think you're going to have lingered in all of them.
Oh. Yeah.
We decided just to come up with 5 if we get to 5 about where Hardy has just seen people doing manual labor and has gotten excited and kind of just put his hand in his pockets and like kicked rocks around looking down. Maybe struck up a conversation with the fellas. Okay. All right. Okay, so here is the first one that we thought Hardy, as we know, spies on his neighbors. We heard about it earlier in the show today. He was spying on his neighbor on Halloween. You saw that he was watching TV, but he had a bowl of candy in front of his house. He wanted to know what it was doing, and the neighbor told him to F off.
Correct.
So, Hardy, has there ever been a situation where a neighbor has been having a particular kind of work done on their home, roofing done on their work on their home? You have found a reason to go over to the neighbor's house. Have you talked to the roofers about like what you putting on there? Like how often do you have to change these things? And have you gone so far as the bribe to get them to talk to you? Have you brought over drinks because it's quote unquote hot up there, and you know it's hot up there, and there's nothing like roofing in the summer? Has that scenario ever happened with you, Hardy?
I'm going to give you half credit on this one. I absolutely have gone to a neighbor's house and struck up a conversation with the homeowner. Now, I have been lucky on one occasion to have a job foreman also come up to talk to the homeowner about the job taking place while I was there, quote unquote, talking to the neighbor. I have not offered up drinks.
You didn't bring a tray of Country Time lemonade across the street?
I have not offered beverages to the workers at a neighbor's home. No. Half credit, absolutely happened in Roslindale. Has not yet happened in Canton, but I'm sure it will.
Because roofing's got to be especially interesting to you because there's so many options.
Well, let me tell you something. The roofing guys have got this down to a science, and they'll get up there and they will have the old shingles off, lickety-split. They've got that big catch tarp that they put underneath the eaves, and everything comes down, and it's a wonderful sound, too, when all those shingles are coming off. It's one of those oddly satisfying things to watch and to listen to. But when the guns get going, it's a rhythmic, almost sexual experience hearing that thing go off with the speed.
It's ones and two, it's effing.
It's hard and
ones
fast.
And twos,
hard and
effing.
fast.
My baby wants it hard and fast.
That's right.
As the kids say. Now, because how often do you go up on your own roof to just see what's doing?
Okay, so I haven't been on a roof here in the new place. I got very concerned about my own mortality. I do have a big ladder that will get me up to the eave above the garage. That's as high as I will go to clean the leaves out of that gutter. I was on the roof of one section of my house in Roslindale after my friend Peter, Heaney Construction. He came over and he was showing me where the ice dams were, and he was showing me how to like fix them. And this was during like a squall. This was not a point where he should have been up there, but that man knows no fear. He's like, "Come on up here, I'll show you." I'm like, "Oh boy!" So we had to climb out on the Juliet balcony off of the bedroom there in the condo, and get up there to see what was what, to see where we were putting the pantyhose filled with the magnesium, like salt solution to kind of like break up the ice dams.
Okay,
yeah,
maybe put that up there.
Sure.
So yeah, the roof in Rozzy, but not
you know how like sometimes women will, I guess, like look for if a guy has like a real expensive watch on or like what kind of car he's driving. If you see a dude with like a construction sweatshirt on, like will you like go like ooh, like this is like and like think that I want to be friends with this guy?
So not so much friends as much as I just want one of those shirts, which is why I have hoodies from Matthias Paving.
Stolen
I also
All right.
I have hoodies from the guys who were over working this summer, the landscaper. And I told you about the being able to go in and turn the light off on the Bobcat.
Yeah, we've heard about that. So there are some things we've already known.
Belichick wears the Navy uniform. Hardy wears construction T-shirts.
I never,
Same thing. It's cosplay.
I never got the hoodie from Peter for on-site builders though, and I would definitely wear one.
Yeah, so Peter, if you could get on that.
And I do have stuff from Beantown. Beantown hooked me up. Beantown Home Improvements.
I mean, that's really good.
Hats, hoodies, the works. I've got the mug that I carry around. That's That's good stuff.
Maybe someone will think you're a construction guy. If someone came up to you and said, "Hey, are you a construction guy?" Would you?
One of my best
tell them
days
no?
ever on the planet Earth was when I was out when the guy was plowing our street in Rossi, and I had my Carhartt on, and I was out there clearing my own driveway, and kind of giving the "it's okay" when he pushes the big bank of snow. The same wall of snow that blocked you and prevented you from coming to work for days at a time, Fred.
Yeah,
5-foot wall of ice.
Yeah, I wasn't here for like a month.
Which you famously told us all about. And the guy, did he stop the truck or did I stand in front of the truck? Doesn't matter. He said, yeah, we're doing this. And I said, yeah, I saw you out here at 4. I figure you probably had early shift. And, man, going up and down Augustus, that's no fun because of the hill. And he asked me, he said, are you in the trades? And I said, no, I'm not. But, I know which end of a shovel is which. Don't you worry about me.
Boy.
I'll take care of my own driveway.
All right. So Adam and I were talking, and I'll start this with your dog seems to be a device in which is solely used to conveniently have to walk by and around people doing yard work, construction work, municipal work, that your dog conveniently, a lot of your stories are they wanted to play with the dog, or I was walking the dog, or I just happened to be around with the dog. Do you, because this will lead into the next scenario, do you ever, for real, like you're always looking out the window at things, see that something's doing in the neighborhood, and then get the dog with the hopes of A, it's an excuse to go out and see what's doing, but B, with the Hail Mary that someone's going to want to pet the dog and start up a conversation?
Why don't you ask me a tough one? Yes, of course. I've done this. I did it the other day. Marcy was going to take the dog for an afternoon walk when I saw the wet paint truck, and they were staging out in front of our house because they were doing a crosswalk.
Yeah, they were
outside of at the end of our street and on the main street. And I said, "Oh, I'll go with you." And I had the dog with me, and it's like, "Oh, look, she wants to sniff the tires of the paint truck. Oh, well, it must be an interesting kind of paint you got there. If it's interesting to a dog, what are you using?" The dog is also very good for walking past. Anytime you see a police detail,
Okay,
no, but that has to do with the construction. There's something good going on.
Yeah, because we won't get to it today, but we'll get to it maybe in the future. All right, here might be the last one for today. Okay, DPW picks up bag leaves and yard debris a few times a year.
Okay, I take my own to the dump, but that's fine.
Fair enough.
Whatever.
Let's move on. Okay, then I'll ask you this. Do you think, is there a compliment in there? So you take your own to your dump. You
can spin this.
The basic thing would be when because you handle all your own weeds, your own raking, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I get help on some of the bigger projects, obviously, but in terms of weekly maintenance, oh yeah, that's
okay. Do you showcase the bags? Adam had a theory that you would be like a showcase the bags in terms of just how by the book.
I was imagining you, if you were having the curbside pickup in your town, like you would be very proud of the way that you separate the leaves from the grass clippings, from the other yard debris, and you have them all bagged up very neatly, and you would be very interested in the gentleman picking that up, looking at your job and going, "Oh, wow, well, this guy clearly knows what he's doing when it comes to picking up his yard waste."
Yeah, like will you keep yard waste in a visible bagged location so people can see it? Because you know that it's pretty impressive.
You guys are dancing around the more fundamental question. Do I want to earn the respect of the guys coming to pick things up? Absolutely. Okay. 100%.
All right. And then
yes.
Okay. And do you let the dog out when people are coming to pick things up?
I let the dog out because Joey and Reno and Mark, I won't say his last name.
Don't, because he'll get a lot of fan mail. It'll be overwhelming.
Grossman, UPS guy. Everybody loves Mark. They're all friends with the dog.
Right.
I'm not.
And how did they make friends with the dog? Just by happenstance or by you
She's
letting the dog out?
a friendly dog.
I don't doubt that.
And they all
But
like
how-
dogs.
The dog you just let the dog sit in the front yard all day?
Yeah. I put her outside when I go to work in the morning. She stays out there until I get home.
Is it fenced in?
She has an electric fence. She doesn't leave the yard.
Oh, cool. But do you let the dog out specifically when you see like someone coming by? Like if you hear the
dog
garbage
demands to go outside when she hears the garbage truck 2 blocks away.
But how did she know that she wanted the people in the garbage truck?
Probably because I first started going out there with her because I wanted to see if I was going to get complimented on the way I broke down the cardboard boxes. There, is that what you want?
Have you ever been complimented with the way that you break down recycling?
No. But
does that hurt you? Does it gnaw at you a little bit?
I've gone so far as to ask Marcy because I think, like a lot of us, like every 2 weeks we have people come in and do like house cleaning, just like the floors in the bathrooms and stuff. We're both working all the time. And it's like it's tough. I don't have to justify it, but I've gone so far as to ask Marcy. I'm like, hey, did they say anything about how well we've been keeping the shower glass clean because we squeegee it down after every shower. And I thought maybe that would be worthy of a compliment from the people coming in. And
Are
doing
you the one who asked me
weeks.
if I had a squeegee for my shower?
No, but I would have.
Okay, because someone has in the past asked me if I had a squeegee.
You
got
got to squeegee that thing after every shower.
I mean, why not? I mean, of course you do. Dan, go ahead.
Hardy has a handyman hero complex, and I think it's going to take a terrifying turn. I picture him flattening women's tires just so he can swoop in and change that sucker right on the side of the road. I really think this is a gateway drug you're messing with, Hardy. Be careful.
Have you pulled over on the side of the road to see if someone needed help, and if they told you no?
Of course. And even if they...
If they tell you no, will you hang
Fred,
around just to wait until help comes?
In this case, and in this case, and in this instance only, sometimes no means yes. Okay, when it comes to roadside assistance. And no other walk of life does that apply.
We get it. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right.
Maybe my proudest moment, there was a guy hauling away an old dryer, and it slipped out of the back. He couldn't close the bed of his truck, and it slipped out of the back as he pulled away out of an intersection. And I hopped out of my car so fast to help him load that dryer in the back of his truck. And you know what? Words weren't even exchanged. I was just there to lend a hand.
That's like a glory hole situation.
He thanked you.
Words aren't even exchanged. It's just anonymous helping.
He didn't even know what was going on. I just showed up and grabbed one end of that thing, and we loaded that bitch.
You know what? Did he even give you like a kind look? Did he even say thank you?
Wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I was just going to say thank you.
He didn't say
you want to
thank
know
you.
why?
Was he a psychopath?
You want to know why? Because he would have done the same for me.
The work is
All
its
right,
own reward.
I have time just for one real quick one. Have you taken your car to a mechanic or anything where your car was doing work on, seen another car being worked on, and moseyed on over to see what was doing?
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, especially if it's a car that I like, I want to know what's what.
Yeah. Will you ask the people questions while they're working on it?
Generally not the person that's working on it because he's busy. I don't want to bother him. But maybe when I'm checking out afterward. It happened the last time I was getting my daughter's car inspected. There was work being done on a really nice BMW, and I couldn't tell what was going on. And I wanted to know, so I asked the guy at the end of it, I'm like, hey, what's going on there? Is that an inspection issue or what? It looks like you're working on the exhaust.
And were you satisfied with the answer?
I didn't understand the answer.
Okay, very good. He gave you too much shop talk.
Well, this is at the root and the base of all this. I'm really not good at any of these things.
Well, you can put away your recycling very well. Yes, John.
We have an email here from Anthony. As a garbage man myself, I feel confident in saying Hardy is definitely the type to try and come out and try and help throw away his yard waste when DPW comes by. By the way, we hate it.
Hold on a second. Who is this?
This guy's name is Tony from Waste Management.
He wants to see if he knows him.
Tony.
Yeah, Anthony. He knows him.
Tony, he's just busting my balls. I know Tony. Good
Yeah.
one, buddy.
Yeah.
If you have extra...
Good old Tony from WM? Yeah.
Hold on a second, Tony.
I call him the Wum.
Especially around the holidays when the kids were little and everything comes in these huge boxes, you know, the play sets and all that stuff. If they won't all fit in the recycling bin, and I have them folded up and broken down, but they're like in between, and I wedge them in between the garbage and the recycling can. You're saying you don't want me to come out there as you lift the recycling to grab the cardboard boxes as they're falling over and just chuck those in myself. You don't want that?
Apparently not.
So you'll wait.
I think he does.
You'll wait for the truck and then come out when you see it. You'll hear it coming, and then you'll put on shoes.
If it's a matter
and
of moving it, put on boots. And
okay.
Yes.
So you need a good, because to get there by the time they're at your house, you need to know they're coming for a little while.
Yeah, and you don't want to go out there in sweats and flip flops like you would walk around, like you walk around in all the time.
Right,
You
right,
put
right.
on jeans and a proper pair of shoes, and you go out there and you throw away the broken down boxes that didn't fit into the recycling bin. You throw those in the back of the truck yourself. Yes.
What do you give them for Christmas?
Used to various things over the years. We had bottles of wine and like vodka, and one guy told
For
me
a
it's like,
garbage man, I don't think they'd like that.
no, because they really don't. No, they don't want this stuff in the truck. They don't want anything
I
that'll
get it.
break.
Yeah.
So now it's mostly gift cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what is it a different gift card based on what they like?
Well, I know where, for instance, I know where Reno lives, so I try and get him something that is, like in his neighborhood, and in what town he lives in.
Will you go to his town and kind of ask around? Reno come in here, like show a picture of him and go like, Reno, you know him? What he
Not a
likes?
stalker. No.
All right. And they all appreciate it, huh?
They say, no, get that out of here. I don't want it.
Yeah, but you think that's false. They're just they're trying to be gracious.
Who doesn't like a card at Christmas? A card at the holidays?
And how do you get it to them? I'm just interested how you know they're going to be at your house like at a specific time. I know there's like an estimated time, like an approximate time they'll be there. Will you put your boots on before you go out there, or will you, like before you know they're coming and wait, or will you listen for them and then put your boots on and then go out there?
I'll be ready, maybe everything except for the shoes and the jacket, but I'll be ready.
Has your daughter or your wife ever made fun of you for any of this?
And in terms of, I think they've had conversations about me.
Okay.
My daughter specifically.
Okay.
Like, why are you going outside right now?
Right. Has the dog ever been dragged outside because the dog was like, no, I really don't want to go out, like a rainstorm or something?
No. Always very excited. But if you're not going to be home when they're coming by on that, that you've decided this is the gift pickup date, I have taped envelopes to the top of the trash cans, which I don't
done
like.
the same. I don't like doing that either. But
I don't like it
sometimes you
because
have to.
then they got to get out of the truck to get it.
Yeah.
But if
they have the mechanical arm, they
Right,
want to stay in the
right,
truck.
right.
Well, and how would they even notice something was on top of it? Like, what are the
Yeah.
chances that they just didn't fall in while they were?
But you want to know why? Because I think they get. There's many people who do this, and they're probably used to it, and they're probably on the lookout for it on the week or two before Christmas.
Why don't you just leave a box with a nice bow on it, like on the side of the road?
Because other
and
people
just go for my fellas, for my team.
Because then other people will see it and try and take it, like the porch pirates, and that would be terrible. If
That's
someone
that's why you have security cameras. You ever make them?
It's
pizza
not going to
rolls?
stop them from taking it.
Have you ever made them a snack?
I've made food for people because I just got an assortment one day, and then I found out that the one guy really liked tuna. So then I started asking around a little bit, and I've done that a couple of times. Now, one time I was refused on a breakfast sandwich. I thought, you know what? He really wants one. So I made him one anyway, and I gave it to him wrapped in foil to take with him when he left.
Huh.
That's good.
Just a little.
Is Hardy gonna linger? Is Hardy gonna linger?
Well, there you go.
Just an egg and cheese. Just an egg and cheese on an English muffin. It's no big deal.
I'm just saying, though, you make how many of those? 8, 9, 10?
It's just I don't think people really want to be talked to.
When
to
they-
be honest with you, I think that they just want to get the job done and get out of there, like or listen to music or
He's
something.
like the dryer guy who dropped it in the intersection. Just, help me, and that's fine.
One of the guys who was there from 128 once, I made him a sandwich to go. And there was a guy from Xfinity there a couple of weeks ago who I think...
What was his name?
Mike. I got his number. He gave me his number in case anything went wrong.
Oh, wow.
But Mike knew who I was, and I think Mike purposely stayed away. And he came kind of like running up from the basement, and he said, "It's all set down there. Don't worry about it." And he told me everything that he did.
Yeah, do you think that they exchange notes? Do you think you're in some like big database that all these workers use, going like obsessed fan? tread lightly. He'll be around. All right. Well, there you go, Hardy. Congratulations.
A lot of emails supporting Hardy as well.
Thank you.
Well, that's why we do it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of guys that relate to this. They like hanging around. There's a lot of Midwestern dads out there.
As a tradesman, I give Hardy's lingering skills a 10 out of 10. Offered me a drink and held the other end of my tape, and yes, I got to meet the dog.
Yeah, they're very yeah. The dog is just a prop. The dog is a prop. It's like a Lamborghini.
Who is that?
It's Bruins luchador.
Oh yeah, you came out to give us fence estimates.
Yeah.
It's like it's like a 50-year-old divorcee with the Lamborghini. That's his dog.
Yeah.
It's just an entree. It's just a way to introduce himself. All right, Cedric Maxwell. I'm sure he can relate to all of this. He does a lot of the same stuff. He'll be with us to talk about the Celtics in just a moment.
More Toucher and Hardy on.
love thing.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Cedric Maxwell is the Celtics color analyst on the 98.5 The Sports Hub Celtics radio network. Cedric is brought to you by East Coast Metal Roofing. There's someone I'm sure who has had Hardy kicking around before. He joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Hello, Cedric.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Now you can finally see I am that colored fella that, the analyst you talk about.
Yeah, well,
so Zoom.
They put you on, they film you guys now.
I know, we're filming us, and we're just rocking and rolling right now. This is, wasn't, again, Wallach would know this wasn't my idea, okay?
It wasn't your idea.
No.
I'm going somewhere with this, but did you dress up for Halloween?
No, I did not.
Okay, you know who
actually?
Okay,
I actually have some rose petals here with me today. I had a nice dinner in my hotel, and it was beautiful.
Okay, so it was alone. Did they put rose petals like on the comforter?
No, but I wasn't alone, sir. There wasn't, and I didn't have 25 people like Hardy does and making them breakfast sandwiches. I didn't do that.
Okay, you didn't do that.
No.
but that's very romantic.
I'm figuring how many people? What were they doing at your house? 10 or 12 people. But they're building the damn road. What were they doing?
Look, Frank Walsh and his crew, they were out there doing some landscaping, and we had look, half sandwiches, Cedric. That's not everybody got a foot long, just, a box of half sandwiches, 12 of them.
He pays more for an orgy scene, is what he does. All right, so, Cedric, the reason I ask if you dress up, because you know who does.
Who's that?
I just got sent Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old chick he's banging.
Oh, yes.
He is dressed as a fisherman, and she's dressed as a mermaid, fully made up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to be doing when you're 72 years old, is posing for Instagram photos like a moron in a costume.
Hey, Daddy.
Daddy. Hey, Granddaddy.
God,
I'm a sick young lady. What are you going to do? You just caught me from the water.
Oh, my God. That is... No, I didn't do that. I'm good. Thank you.
The idea of having to go through the whole courtship process.
Thank you. You just can encapsulate what I'm saying. Like, good for you. Like, banging all these, young ladies that you want. But there's a whole other level of you're really gonna get together and
you're gonna
put
go
a
to the
photo shoot together,
and you're gonna go to the Renaissance Fair, and you're gonna do all these things that none of us ever want to do again. But you had to do it in the early stages of a relationship, and to go back to that again. Oh my God!
Or can you just at your age, I can tell you, if someone was hey, Fred. Even if they were really attractive, Fred, I want to take. First of all, I've taken no Instagram photos with anyone. But if you want to take Instagram photos, I want us to dress up in elaborate costumes and pose and have someone else take your picture. I'd be like, you know what? I'm sick of banging you.
Yeah. I'm good, honey. I'll see you later.
Yeah, we've had sex.
Good life.
Yeah, we've had sex conceivably. You know what? No. Because every time we're having sex now is diminishing returns, and now I don't want to do any of this anymore. That's the part I have a problem with. People are like, you can do whatever you want. Yeah, you can. But then there's being a sucker. You're just like a punk. Like she's getting you to do all this dumb crap.
No, I'm not doing apple picking. I'm not going in the maze.
It's not but it's just the Instagram aspect of it. A child. He didn't want to be on the TV.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's true. I think that's the big thing that is so different. You have a guy who I was almost reluctant to do anything, smile, and then he's posing as a fisherman, and then he catching a mermaid, and she's 24. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it would be dumb if it was someone his own. I guarantee you, if it was someone his own age, he wouldn't be putting up with it. And that's the thing is that, If you like 24-year-olds so much, have sex with a bunch of them and don't take any Instagram photos.
What does your? I mean, the only thing I think about that, and I have to respect everybody, but you got to think, what does your daughter think about that, or your son?
That's the thing.
Yeah. That's the real thing. Staying in your age group.
And by age group, Cedric, I'm talking. If I'm 49. The equivalent of him dating her is me dating a woman that was born this year.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's the age difference. So there's like 20 years difference. I don't know any other age difference besides 50. 50 is a lot.
Yeah.
50 is a lot.
I think that the biggest discrepancy I had was about 20. And then I found out quickly we had nothing in common other than sex. That was about it.
Well, yeah, but but I guarantee you, 20 years difference, you're not taking Instagram photos and posing around like that. I can assure you that. I mean,
the person I was with, it was really funny. She was so needy. What I remember about it was the fact that we were 2 blocks away from the Wayne Theater, and she wanted to take a damn Uber. I was like, damn, we'll be there in 2 minutes walking. I can't walk. I said, get your ass out of here. I was tired by then. I'm good.
Yeah, Max. Well, that's the thing. And so if you're saying, I'm not getting an Uber, this is over. Imagine if they're like, let's stage a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Like, nah, thanks.
No, we're good.
We've had sex already.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
we've already sealed the deal. I'd be damned if we're gonna have a photo op.
How about I'm the boss?
Here's the thing. What the hell are you gonna do for Valentine's Day?
Yeah.
Are you gonna dress up? I'm a devil and you're what? You're Mary Poppins? Which one are we going to do? I mean, I'm not sure.
I'll dress up like Pop. I mean, we'll show me some old photos and I'll dress up
The
like
benchmark for Bill should be, at the very least, do you remember the first 3 Super Bowls I won with the Patriots? Because she doesn't.
No, she
she's
doesn't.
way too young.
No.
There's she was alive.
90, barely.
Yeah.
Was
she born this century?
No, she was born.
No. She wasn't born this century.
No, she was born the first year Belichick started as the head coach of the Patriots.
That's not right. That's not right.
Again, and beyond all that, it's just the hoops he's jumping through to achieve this. Like that's what's unsettling.
Yeah.
You know?
That would be the thing. Just the fact, okay, I'm with you. I understand that. We understand that, this is for society, this is a little crazy. But I'd be damn if I'm dressing up as a damn fisher.
Yeah.
You're going to be the murderer.
Exactly. Yeah. If you want to get laid, get laid all you want. That's awesome.
It was so disturbing what you guys were saying. I need one of you guys to send me a photo of this because
I'll send it to John, and John can send it to you.
Yeah, no, you'll appreciate this.
Yeah,
Max.
you'll. It's as bad as you think.
Yeah,
it's
I'll
elaborate.
send it to you later.
It's elaborate. All right, so Cedric, the game against Indiana was really something. How impressed were you with the guys that were on the court at the time of the big comeback, and the idea that they were that invested in coming back in that game early in the season?
That really is true. I mean, a lot of times you let go of the rope. I thought Joe Mazzulla wouldn't even put those guys back in the fourth quarter. And then they got back in the fourth quarter. And to me, this Cater played well. He was rebounding the basketball. Then Pritchard, and then you got Tatum going. It was fun to see them respect the game in that way, considering that they were down. You could have thrown in the towel, but the team gave another effort, and you give an E for effort. Yeah, sometimes you do because it will pay dividends off later on in the season when you really might need to buckle down and play another game.
Is Peyton Pritchard really as good as we've seen him play the first 4 or 5 games? It just seems like he's better this year than last year.
I mean, he's a junkyard dog, and I talked to Tatum, I talked to Brown. And both those guys said to me, Peyton Pritchard, before we get out of practice, he's the first guy grabbing us saying, yo, let's play one-on-one. Let's play one-on-one. So he's a gym rat, and he will be. There was some picture they had of him, and this is not no Instagram, but he was playing with some kids out in the street.
Yep. I saw that.
He was it was shooting hoops. And that reminds me of, now, he's not this guy, but Willie Mays. Remember, he was back in the streets of Brooklyn someplace playing stickball with the kids. Well, you get a professional basketball player playing basketball with you out in the street, and he didn't know you from a can of paint. That is that's relatable to the people.
Yeah, I agree. I look at that Indiana team though, Max, and no secret that they're a good team, but they are the one that seems to be mentioned like second or third when you're talking about the Celtics, biggest fears in the East. And I looked at them last year as something I didn't want to mess with, and they've got this element to their team and the way they play where they get the most out of everybody, I think.
Well,
more consistently than the other teams that you're automatically afraid of.
Well, they really hadn't played well this year. I mean, they dropped a game against New York. They dropped another game. They had other people hurt. They caught you on the night when they played well, and you didn't. If you had your B game, you're the one handling. But the Celtics were down to their C game, and but. There's so much hope and so much bright perspective for this team, because here's the thing I'm watching. I'm looking at Porzingis practice before these games. He is moving so well. And I would anticipate that he's back before Christmas.
Oh.
And that would be, for me, that would be really big. I think sometimes in early December, you could possibly see him back because he's moving that well when I'm watching him play.
All right, Cedric. Well, it's always great stuff. You do an excellent job on the broadcast and on our show, and we appreciate the time, and we will talk to you next week.
Hey, get that fishing pole so we can get ready to sleep.
Yeah.
What the hell is that?
It better have magic inside that mermaid. There better be something very, very special in that mermaid.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
All right, Max,
thank
thanks.
you, Max. Cedric Maxwell. I like getting an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
So it's not just us talking about it.
Yeah.
I like getting a man who's been in maybe in that man's position and realizes there's a point where it's not worth it anymore. And then I start losing respect for the man. And a lot of respect for I think I'm getting more respect for her than him. Good for her. Whatever fetish she has is being realized, and she's getting to do a lot of dumb crap, so she wins. She's obviously the alpha in that relationship.
Yep.
All right, we'll be back in just a moment. But let me do this. Should I do this first, Adam? No. Okay, let's do headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Bruins were blown out by Carolina 8-2. They'll have tonight off. They visit Philadelphia.
it's L7. And L7 famously, lady pulled her lady product out of herself, threw it in the crowd.
The 90s, man.
Yeah, different time. We are Toucher and Hardy. People used to want to get in trouble. And we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. We were talking about how Hardy lingers around these job sites and things like that. Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to call in. I'm pretty sure I have Hardy's dream job. I work in the construction industry. I get to drive a company truck. It's a white pickup truck. I've got a vest. I've got a hard hat. We basically provide what's called hydrovac excavation services.
Oh.
And a big part of
Turn
and
this
a big
up.
part of my job is to just like show up to job sites, find the foreman or the superintendent, build some rapport, talk about what we do, hand out stickers if we have an active job site, buy the guys, lunch, buy food, whatever, hang out. Basically stay out of the way too, but it's my whole day is filled with just going to job sites and chumming it up with the guys.
I don't love the stay out of the way part, but I do like the fact that you're able to put on the vest and the hard hat, and you're not required to do any work because maybe, like me, you're not actually good at it. You desperately want to be, but your help is not needed, nor would it help things.
In a pinch, could you jump in and help, though?
No, it is. It was made abundantly clear to me on day one that I am to stay out of the way and not really touch any of the equipment.
Yeah, that's like putting a heroin addict in a poppy field. And you can't touch anything.
That's rough. That's rough,
Hardy.
but I still like it. Okay.
It is, all right, and Eric is very persistent. He emails all the time. Eric, it's time for you to share your opinion on this matter. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, it's not an opinion.
No,
Well,
I know.
Opinion,
Go ahead.
But yeah, that photo. I mean, last night was absolutely absurd. But you did see my email that I sent you.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I've talked about it on the air before. But go ahead.
Oh, I apologize.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
When this story first came out, my first instinct was to text a buddy of mine who I know, if this situation was accurate, he would have been like, "Oh yeah, I've seen her. We've had to kind of keep her in the weeds and take care of whatever." So I texted him immediately when the Belichick girlfriend situation come out, and his first response to me was like, "Dude, she is, known about her for a little over a year, something like that. She's bad news. She's a gold digger." Like she kept him out of his Nantucket home for like 6 months, and I go, "Wait a minute." I go, "You're telling me that leaked?" He doesn't listen to sports talk radio. He's not in these circles. I'm like, I told him, I said, that was a leaked situation. That was in the news that Linda Holiday was squatting at the Nantucket mansion. And now that we know the timelines and kind of what Linda's all about and stuff like that, I think squatting's beneath her. It turns out that I don't know what really was going on, but this young girl was the one that was refusing to leave. I don't know what, but she was refusing to leave. She was causing Belichick a huge headache last year, and we could roll back the tape. He was seen out in New Orleans with her, those mysterious photos. If we line up all the timelines, it's like, holy crap. Like the squatting situation was this 24-year-old. I don't know any more details than that, but it's a pretty bizarre situation.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Eric has sent me screenshots of text messages with people and things of that nature. He's on top of it.
Did you see what Linda Holiday dressed up for Halloween?
Yeah, it was really exciting. Yeah, I saw.
Well, I mean, there was a symbolism there.
Yeah, she dressed up as Kill Bill. She had fun with her friends.
Yes.
She still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that she looks good. All right. And by the way, I don't know if any of that's true or not.
I don't know if anybody was squatting. I don't know who it was, but
he's been very persistent.
There's plenty of meat on the 50-year difference and the dating of the 24-year-old bone to not have to get into squatting situations or anything else.
But there is plenty on the bone of also, more than any of that, the public displays of Instagram photos where they pose, which is something I would not do. No, not for her. No. I want to take Halloween photos. No. No.
Eric,
they're fun. No, they're not. No.
Aaron says, we all know why Bill dressed as a fisherman. He's a Navy man.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stolen valor. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Our friend Kendra will be in studio.
through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody.
WBZ FM and HD Boston. From the opening kickoff to the final play. Your home of the past. 98.5. The Sports Hub. Beasley Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
48 hours after getting shut out at home by last-place Philadelphia, the Bruins visited Carolina last night and got humiliated by the Hurricanes 8-2. The home team scored 3 goals in less than a minute to snap a 1-1 tie in the first period, and that was it for the night. David Pasternak's team is not playing well.
Definitely move our feet, there's a lot of stick penalties, high stick, so that's one, but honestly, the game, we just weren't good enough, 5-on-5 at all. They were all over us, and we got to be better.
They'll be in Philadelphia to play the Flyers again tomorrow. Celtics open up a 2-game stay in Charlotte tonight when they face the Hornets. Sam Hauser once again listed as probable. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 6:30 and the tip-off at 7 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Patriots had every active player on their roster on the field at practice yesterday. More importantly, Drake May was limited as he continues to work his way through concussion protocol. The Jets got 3 second-half touchdown passes from Aaron Rodgers. They beat Houston last night 21-13, and after major elbow surgery cost him all of this season, Red Sox pitcher Lucas Giolito has quickly picked up his $19 million player option for next season. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the all-new fall flavors at the 99, like the freshly baked home-style chicken pot pie packed with chicken and topped with a buttery, flaky crust. You gotta love the 9s. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
Boston plays here.
Pressure, half court, it's in the air. He got it! He did it again!
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back.
Toucher and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Around the NFL with Toucher and Hardy.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
All right, so we are Toucher and Hardy, and we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. You can watch us on YouTube. Search Toucher and Hardy on YouTube. Kendra Middleton is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. But before we go to the Around the NFL for this week, Kendra is in here, and John and I were talking about this. Kendra just heard what we were talking about. If you don't know Bill Belichick, he's conceivably in love with this 24-year-old woman.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is he in love, he's posed the other day on Halloween on the beachfront with her dressed as a mermaid, like an elaborate costume with makeup. He wore an elaborate fisherman's costume, and they took pictures so she could put them on Instagram. The first question, Kendra, is this. You're on Instagram all the time. When you date guys, you put them on Instagram.
No.
There you go.
I don't date really, but I wouldn't if I was.
I know.
Good.
So there you go. So Kendra,
Points in your column.
So the whole idea that this is just part of it is nonsense. It's not. I can tell you, no girl has ever gone to me, you know what I really want you to do? Put me on Instagram. Because no, I'm not doing it. Like maybe if we'd been dating for a super long time or something, but I'm certainly not doing corny ass stuff just to put it up. Yeah. All right. So here was the other question. John, you had the question. You asked me what I thought.
Bill Belichick's, the age difference between Bill and his girlfriend is 48 years. Kendra Middleton. What is the biggest?
Don't say yet, but go ahead.
What is the biggest age discrepancy of a boyfriend that you've had? How much older have you gone?
A boyfriend?
Yes.
No. Or someone you've dated.
Someone you dated.
Don't say, because I think we've talked about this before, and I believe. Can I say what I think she has said before?
Well, first of all, because I don't remember, neither does John.
Okay.
So if you remember, let's save you for last.
Okay.
John, you go ahead.
I said 15 years.
Okay, I said 25.
Okay. And I believe, if I remember the conversation correctly, the oldest person you dated was not the biggest age discrepancy.
Yes,
because as, you're a young woman to begin with, but as a younger woman, you dated someone in their 30s, and you were 19, 20 at the time, but you did date someone in their 40s since then. So I'm going to say that the magic number here is, I'm going 15 years.
I said 15.
You guys are all wrong. Mom, turn off the radio. So
Oh, boy.
when I was 18, I was seeing a guy who was 39 for a minute, and he didn't tell me he had kids, and I was over at his place one day and opened up the hall closet, and all the kids' toys fell out, and we'd been seeing each other for 2.5 months at this point. And so I was like,
what a good dad. First of all, to be able to see you for 2.5 months without any knowledge of, if you date me for one date, it's good. The juggling that I have to do to go out with a girl,
right?
Because of all my responsibilities with my kids, which actually girls seem to like. I mean, girls are better than
thing. Yeah,
men are better.
I wouldn't have
Women are
cared.
100 times better than men. Believe me, men are so much more likely to be creeps about that or selfish.
I wouldn't have cared.
No, I know you wouldn't have. But the idea that a guy, because I've never heard the story, the idea that a guy could hide children is absolutely
young kids
insane.
too. They were
insane.
young.
I thought you meant he was a good dad because he put the toys away. He didn't make the kids.
I knew that's what would resonate with you. Were they on hooks? Was every individual toy on a hook?
so that
You got to
happened.
see my neighbor's garage, by the way.
So,
And then-
Veriflex cheap skateboards have their own.
So the answer
own
is
place.
around
Well,
20.
So last year, I went out with a guy once who was 55.
Okay.
And I thought that it wasn't a maturity thing. I thought that I was more mature than he was, and that was the issue.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I understood why he was single at 55.
So that's 30.
Yeah. So I would say dated would be the first situation, biggest age difference on a singular date.
Okay. So 25 was around right.
Yep.
Yeah.
You win that one.
I figured that she had gone out at least with someone older than me. Because I know what she's told me what her dating apps restrictions are.
Yeah, I don't think I would do that again. I think 45 is probably kind of my limit these days, just because I think that makes more sense for me. But
Yeah. Yeah, 45 a good limit.
Yeah, 28 and 45 I feel like is fine. Other than that, I feel like I'm so sorry, Mom. I feel like that is where those just because we were talking about in the back, I cannot imagine hooking up with Bill Belichick. I think I would vomit.
Well, he's a grandfather.
Yeah, but just at that point, everyone's bodies are kind of the same at that point, you know?
Yeah,
Unless
and
you're doing steroids, I'm really all set with that.
He's also not like George Clooney or
No.
I
feel like he'd have a heart attack.
or like Mick Jagger, like one of these guys that is or like this art. I always say this, like an art dealer that is traipsing around Morocco. There's certain things that I could understand a young lady falling in love with the lifestyle, and wow, this guy is so put together and all this stuff that I understand. Women like older guys, I understand all that. But Belichick's like my dad. Belichick's like my dad, and he's not cool.
I need to know who took that photo. That's my big thing about it. Who took that picture?
Yeah, I mean, Lord
Bill
knows.
Belichick's dog? I don't know.
Maybe a professional photo shoot of some kind.
No, that's not a professional. That's not a
even
professional.
better.
That's an iPhone
You're the
photo.
guy, you show up and there's a
Imagine.
professional photographer
It would-
waiting for you.
I
on the
could
beach.
I could at least understand the concept and see how she may have talked him into it. If said, "Hey, we're going to recreate a scene from Splash. I'll be Daryl Hannah. You be Tom Hanks in the tuxedo, just coming back from the wedding." But of course, that movie came out 20 years before she was born, so she wouldn't have any reference.
Again, it's not even that if you want to date the girl or go out, whatever. It's that you're jumping through all these hoops and bunking yourself out. I can honestly tell you, there's no way in a million years if that woman asked me to do that I would say yes. If she was like, I want to put this for numerous reasons. I wouldn't want my kids seeing it because I don't want my son to think that that's the proper way.
What do you think the
to
kids
be behaving
think?
with a girl? I've said this before. If Belichick's kid who works for the Patriots listens to this show, he loves what I'm saying. There's no question about it. There's no way they're like, wow, Fred's a dick. There's no way. You know that's true.
Well, what I was gonna say is there's no way anybody could think that you're being a dick because this is just the reality of it. If I were a Patriots fan, which I'm not, so I'm not gonna speak for fandom or anything. But if I'm a Patriots fan, this whole relationship is absolutely tainting the way that I see him because this is creepy. No matter how you spin it, this is weird.
Well, and it's also that he's obviously the beta in this thing, and he's just being forced to do all this stuff.
Okay, so I don't really care what the age difference is. I, in a relationship, am the type where I'm gonna pick the pants out. You can wear them, but I'm picking them out.
Fair enough, but if you want a guy though, so you want a guy that would agree to if you were like, I want to do something, and the guy's like, I don't want to do this, something like a photo shoot. and the guy said, no, you want a guy that would go, okay.
If it were this situation, I'd be like, yeah, fine. I don't need to lay on the beach like a mermaid. But if it's some photo, like if it's like a family photo shoot or like Christmas cards or something like that.
Come on, Kendra.
Okay.
That's much
Kendra,
different.
that's way different.
But I would never ask my significant other to do something like this because I
Okay.
think that this is stupid.
Okay.
Or like, hey, we're at a corn maze. Well, first of all, why am I
I
there
would
with
never
you
do
anyway?
that.
I know. And then, but then, like, I want to take pictures of us. No.
What if you're getting paid to be at the corn maze?
Well, but see, then I have girlfriends to go with me. That's why I think that it's so important to like hang on to your friends when you're in a relationship, because why do I want to drag the guy that I most likely live with when I can hang out with my girlfriends who actually want to do those activities?
When I date women, I make them get rid of all their friends, so I have total control.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the first thing I do.
Smart.
I say, give me that phone.
Well, that's the kind thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm just like, none of these. I don't like what they get in your head with their crazy ideas. All right, Hardy, let's go around the NFL.
All right,
There's
here we
so
go.
much to get to.
We'll start with Raiders coach Antonio Pierce as his team gets ready to play the Cincinnati Bengals this weekend. Coach Pierce, are you blaming anyone for the way this is going?
You know, there's been a lot of opportunities for us to score points and make opportunities. And, yeah, that's on the play caller. But then also, like I told our staff and I told our players, it's all of us. It's easy to sit here and just point the finger at Luke or myself. All those things have to get cleaned up. So, yeah, it does start with the coordinator. He's got to be the one that takes the fall for that and gets most of the blame. But it is collective.
All right, Joe Burrow.
Do you think he's going to get fired? Anyone?
You see, it's interesting. Remember, he was the player's choice. The players are going to riot if he didn't get the job. He got the job.
They got the dead cat bounce.
Yes.
You remember, that was
Yes.
they were all thrilled.
They did. They started playing well once he took over, but here we are. Reality has smacked them. Raiders are what, 2-6? They're in the Jets' driver's seat. They're not going to make the playoffs, but if they lose, they're definitely out.
This is the problem. They're going up against the Bengals team, and Joe Burrow has thoughts on what this means for them as a 3-5 team right now.
This is a must-win game. Yeah, we're 3-5. You go to 3-6, then you got to basically win out to get in. So urgency is very high every week from here on out.
I don't know. You have to win out to get it in.
11-6 gets you in comfortably, right?
Yeah,
Did you guys hear him talking about the math the other day about how they have to win like 7 of their last 9 and that's doable and they can get in? That was Joe Burrow's statement.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that if they can win 7 of their next 9, you get 10 wins, you're in. That's his,
10
that's
wins,
his
you're in.
logic.
I bet you 9 win gets you in the AFC with a
This
tiebreaker.
year, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think that the Ravens are going to win that division, but the AFC is so garbage this year. I think like 30-something% of the AFC is under 3 or 4 wins.
Right. So
doable.
in Denver is 5-3, and they're not gonna. I don't think they're gonna finish with 9 wins.
No, but they're feisty. Like I kind of like them this week, to be honest. 8
Who
points,
are they playing?
Ravens. 8 points spread.
You're not alone. A lot of people like Denver in this game.
Bo Nix is figuring it out, man. He really is. And Sean Payton's not a bad coach. It's a great coaching matchup. I don't think you can really. I don't think they win this game. It's a great bounce back spot for the Ravens, but 8 points is a lot in the NFL.
Is Baltimore injured?
I think the issue is that Baltimore's defense is having a hard time playing complementary football to their offense.
Okay.
I think that's the big issue.
All right. I didn't know if there was an injury situation there because you're not the first. There is not.
Baltimore 9-point favorites, right?
But there.
I think 8.
I've heard that
8 on DraftKings right now.
8.5.
I've heard people like Denver in that game. All right, go ahead. What else is going on?
DJ Moore, the Chicago Bears, criticizing some of the things the Bears are doing. This is his apology for the criticism?
We all talked about it, and me and Flus talked about it with the captains. And just gotta stay in the house next time. I'm not going to say sorry for what I said, but at the same time, it should have just stayed in the house. But I said what I said.
Okay, so when you literally say, I'm not going to say sorry, that's not an apology. He's not apologizing.
You're doubling down. Yeah, like not apologizing and announcing you're not apologizing is doubling down.
That's a... Yeah.
You could simply not apologize and not make it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, someone in that division needs to start sucking because it's too strong.
By the way, Arizona hasn't allowed a sack in 3 straight games.
Good for them.
Next Sunday, they got that wall of Jets coming off a hot win in 9 days rest.
Kendra, you're up on all the sayings and phrases around the NFL. You familiar with Jameis Winston's "Eat the W"?
Yes.
Did you know what it meant before he explained it?
Yes.
Did you know what Eat the W meant, Fred?
No.
He's even got T-shirts out.
All right, well, let's hear Jameis Winston explain.
You can't avoid them. They're selling like hotcakes. Go ahead.
Eat the W.
Well, no, now the EW was that was something that was just brewing. You know what I'm saying? Like it started with alphabet soup. Then it ended up being pancakes, W pancakes, and then it ended up being in the W. So that was something that.
That was his class at Florida State. They had a class just called letters, and they started with with the alphabet soup.
Right.
And they're like, all these noodles are letters, Jameis. And then he went, oh.
But then pancakes?
Yeah. Well, they said we can turn anything that's malleable into a letter. For instance, if we cut here and here, it's a V. You see? And then a little bit trickier, make a few triangles. We got ourselves an M. Turn it upside down, a W. Jameis?
But I've always done that. I've always done eat a W, because, alphabet soup's growing up in the hood. Like, you're going to eat alphabet soup.
Yeah.
I'm only eating the W.
Exclusively in low-income neighborhoods, alphabet soup.
How dare you? That alphabet soup was delicious.
Take the Chargers
I'm making
this
the
week.
joke. Canned soup? Like, there's certain things, like, I understand that were specialties of low-income areas. Alphabet soup is not one of them.
I actually have a big play for this game. Lad McConkey's odds for a touchdown are plus 240, despite him having 2 last week and 111 yards with a long catch of 60. I don't think that the odds makers have figured out Lad McConkey yet, so plus 240 for an anytime for him. Love it.
Is Lad McConkey a rookie?
Yes.
All right. Where did he play his college football?
Georgia.
All right, I remember Lad.
Slot
He's a
receiver.
white fella.
Yes, he
Patriots were supposedly in the hunt for him in the second round.
And he's named Lad, which makes
Two
me
Ds.
not trust him.
Lad,
Yeah,
two
two
Ds.
Ds.
2 Ds for Lad.
All right, we have an update on the
I like how you're incorporating the bets, Kendra. It's very natural.
It's good.
I
It's
do
very
like
good.
it.
See if you have anything on the Cowboys. Delightful drama between Trayvon Diggs and a reporter. Before I give you the update, here is the genesis of this drama as Trayvon was asked about a certain play.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took from that? You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trayvon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking. We can talk about it more. What were you doing then?
Oh.
Okay, so what happened is a reporter took a still from a play in the Cowboys game and called out Diggs on the play. Obviously, he's a defensive back. They called him out. I understand why Diggs is. First of all, there's a couple things that are interesting to me about this. A, how he found it so fast because he's like still in uniform.
Yeah.
I don't know how he saw the tweet so fast. And it's like my daughter when she gets out of school, just the phone. Like the phone, just they get on the phone. And B, I understand him being pissed. Like you're cherry picking me. You're making it look like it's my fault. We lost this game. Like this isn't the kid at the Redskins game, from Chicago taunting the crowd before the Hail Mary. I mean, I get him being pissed, but Diggs was a very kind gentleman. He knows how to work the media.
Apparently.
I will say I am taking the Cowboys this week. Love the Cowboys in this spot.
All right, well, the Cowboys are 3-point dogs at Atlanta. Before we get to that, though, we have to hear the apology explained by the reporter.
In Santa Clara, California, that has set the internet ablaze, the hatchet has been buried. Diggs and I spoke today as part of his weekly media availability, and Diggs apologized for his actions on Sunday night. As a result, I apologized as well for misreading the play. At the end of it all, Diggs had an apropos parting gift.
I got something for you, though. What flavor you want? I got ranch. I got banana pudding.
I'll go ranch. I'm not a banana guy.
So he gave him nuts. He told him we can talk about these nuts, and then as a means to apologize, he gave him nuts.
Yeah, and then the guy went up to the podium at the press conference and took the nuts from him. Like all great reporters, just like McDonough used to when he covered the NFL.
Oh, those guys, Gavins.
when they weren't
Brian.
when they weren't hitting the guys in the face, they were going out and expecting gifts because they were dared to be insulted by the player.
I'm curious why do you like Atlanta so much?
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, multiple interceptions in each of his last 3 games, is not
That
playing.
Dallas defense very weak.
I don't like Atlanta. I like Dallas.
Yeah, she likes Dallas.
I got it
So
backwards.
I think if there's ever been a get-right game for the Cowboys, this is it. Obviously, it's a spot where everyone's pretty much coaching for their job. The thing is that the Falcons have a really hard time pressuring quarterbacks, and they gave up over 400 yards last week to the Bucs without their two best receivers. I think that this is a great spot for the Cowboys, even though it's on the road. It's win or there's going to be some real problems. And it sounds like they're fired up, and I think that the Falcons have been a hard team to kind of figure out where to bet on them this year. So I think that this is the Cowboys get-right game.
Well, they're also, the Cowboys have the benefit of having extra coaching from Jerry Jones.
His ability to run is there. There's no question about that. As far as him physically, he can run. And,
talking about Dak.
And you really don't want to see him take off with that ball. These quarterbacks that run, you know they're going to get injured, and that happens. And happens to the youngest, happens to the best. It's happened to Dak.
That's him calling into his own radio show. And apparently they've made up there, too, after he threatened to have them fired. Even
Jerry
though he
didn't
has,
apologize exactly.
No, he has no control over those guys and getting fired, but he still said they were going to be replaced. So.
Yeah, which is always the sign of a rich guy who's really got it under control and has not let his ego spin wildly. Jerry Jones is now getting old.
His talk about contracts, too, is interesting.
I've always looked at the dollars we spend in football and on the roster. I've always looked at them as scholarships. When you give a lot of scholarships to any one player, in terms of your cap, in terms of the dollars, then that's much less you got to give to another player.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, boy.
It's called a budget, Jerry.
And
we're all aware of it. Even the dumbest of us know what a budget is. Wow. Because we all don't have $1 billion.
Why do you have to have a metaphor for salaries and an NFL cap? Well, that's pretty self-explanatory.
See here, simpleton. If there's a stack of money and you give this much money of the stack to this person, there's less money in the stack that you've had before you gave it to that person, and so on and that. So the more I give to this person, the less money's in the stack, and by the end of the stack, I got very little money to hand out. No money in that stack.
If I swindle somebody out of their homestead so I can expand an oil field, that's one less person I have to swindle along the same stretch of highway.
How much do you think I'll have to apologize on my deathbed not to find eternal damnation? Yeah, he's getting old. I think everyone can agree that Jerry Jones, who used to be delightful, he used to be quite delightful, has now become old. And he's not the only one. I'm starting to hear people, and it's very sad because this is like 2 generations, I guess, before me, is starting to like lose it a little bit, and it's just another thing there, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I understand.
All right,
Bob Dylan wrote about it.
We have more games to touch on.
Knocking on heaven's door.
And find out what Kendra has for us in terms of bets this weekend that
plus,
don't involve the games that were discussed.
Plus, I think I got my email working, so maybe we can do that.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to play Legs by ZZ Top.
All right.
Cool.
All right, so we will do all of that for you coming up in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hart.
No, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy, and we can be reached, John at 985thesportshub.com, and then Hardy and I's names at 985thesportshub.com. You can follow the show at Toucher and Hardy on Instagram and Twitter. And for the love of God, if I could just monetize this Instagram thing, please follow me on Instagram at Fred Toucher. I swear to God, I'll put pictures up. I'll dress up in costumes every day and just let 24-year-old girls walk all over me.
Hardy had an ad the other day on Instagram.
Was it an ad or just for a buddy's lawn service company?
No, it was sponsored content from Boston Lawnmower.
Yeah, look at you, Hardy.
No,
sponsored through the station.
I thought it was a good video.
The station.
I don't care either way. Like you're allowed to do with anything you want with your socials.
Yeah.
Hardy's social, and you know what? You leave the show, you go ahead, keep that.
Thanks, buddy.
That's yours. See, the Toucher and Hardy, more of an issue with, but I don't think you try. There you go. Oh, speaking of which, I got an email about this. Who are these podcast? Who are these podcast? You can Google that. And I was asked to mention that, so I will. They're friends with Anthony, so I say hello. All right. A lot of things about you, Hardy. A lot of
from
people,
the lingering segment.
Yeah, a lot of people interested in you, but I will say this first. Cedric Maxwell's Weighing Theater. Cedric was talking about how he was dating a younger woman. She was 20 years his junior, and he was walking. They were 2 blocks from the Weighing Theater, and she wanted to get an Uber, and so he said, "That's it, we're breaking up." Cedric's younger date didn't want to walk the short distance to the Weighing Theater, so he put away the weighing.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He said you can't have that anymore.
I get it.
Okay.
He said you can't have that anymore.
We had Tony email us earlier saying that people like him hate it when Hardy will go out and annoy them. Well, not annoy them, but go and strike up conversation when he's just trying to do his job, and Hardy kind of took offense to that. Well, he has emailed us again. I should clarify, we don't like it because if he hurts himself while helping, we could get in trouble. And then, of course, the people that want to help always want to talk for 30 minutes. However, Christmas cards and tips are a guaranteed way to get what you want out of us.
Christmas cards?
I'm not trying to get anything out of them.
No friendship. You are, in a way, nothing tawdry or free, but you are looking for companionship and acceptance. Kendra, do you ever stand over the people working?
I'm also showing true gratitude to the people, and this is not an original concept, but if we stop doing our jobs for a week, so what? If the guys picking up trash and recycling stop doing their jobs for a week, that's a real problem.
Wow.
I'm tearing up, man.
Underappreciated.
No doubt about it, man.
And I appreciate them. You? I don't know if you do.
Yeah, I'm always putting them down. There's no middle ground between worshiping
He
them.
just hates farmers.
Well, no, I hate farmers markets and the people that go to them.
There's a difference there.
He hates gourmet popcorn.
How often do you go to Newton? Do you ever go to Newton?
I go there for the dentist.
Okay, go and just walk around, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. The looks on people's faces, they look like you just bludgeoned a relative of theirs to death, and they all dress the same.
Did you go on a bad date with a girl who likes farmers markets?
I've never had I've never had a bad date. I swear to God, I've never had a bad date. I've had dates.
You're the one. Congratulations.
No, I enjoy first dates, even if I know there's no connection to the person, because A, I never eat out, so this is fun for me, and B, it's talking to someone that's not my children. It's very exciting for me just to be out of the house. I've never had a bad one, like where something like weird happened or like there was no conversation. I've had plenty where there wasn't another date after.
But as far as farmers go, come to Natick during the outdoor bazaar every Saturday during the spring and summer. He's absolutely right.
I go
they
to
all dress the same way.
They all Massachusetts.
They all walk in the street. They all look at you
Not
like
in
you're
Newton.
Satan if you come close
Not
to them.
in Newton. Or they'll be walking with their dogs unleashed, and I'll have my dog on a leash because my dog I won't let unleashed. and then they'll be pissed that my dog barks.
I get it. It's because you don't like food that other people have made.
It's not the food or the farmers. I think you're missing out on the whole thing. It's the tote bag carrying library people, PBS people that walk around. They're progressive entitled. The progressive entitled corduroy people. These are the people I don't like. Go just search Nick Kroll, John Mulaney, Too Much Tuna. That's them doing a parody of it.
Those are the people.
That's them doing a parody of it. That's exactly what it is. And they walk in the road, and then they look at you like you're such an a-hole for driving on the road. I'm not off-roading, people. This is for cars. This is what they did. We developed this. This has been around since the invention of the Model T. They paved roads. This is what it's for.
Why do you hate apricot jam?
I like apricot jam.
Because somebody else made it, Hardy.
I eat. You know me. I eat fruit every morning. I got my overnight oats. Word them up.
Do you eat veggies?
Yes, I do. I had a salad for lunch yesterday.
Wow.
Hardy one time called me when the show first started, and I was ordering from Sweet Green. And he thought I was doing it for his benefit.
Yeah.
He's like, are you doing this for my benefit?
Because I was going through a Taco Bell drive-through at the same time.
Yeah, but it was, strangely, I'm fatter than you. So what's fair in this world?
Having listened to Hardy for quite some time, I feel like he'd be totally fine if a stranger like myself came into the studio and stood next to him and tried to help him by possibly grabbing a pen, stacking some papers, moving a coffee cup, scooting a chair closer to the desk while he sits in it, and adjusting his microphone while he's using it, and giving him pointers on how to speak on the radio mid-sentence.
Otherwise, my dad when he comes and visits. My dad has told me to shut up because a mic was on in studio while I was standing off mic. Shut up! And I'm like, you understand this is my job. I'm aware what the mic can pick up. He's like, shut up, Freddie. And I'm like, no, I will not shut up, Dad. I'm aware of what's going on.
I know what level I can speak at.
Yeah. But strangely enough, that would not bother me. I don't care if people are in studio. You could have 20 people in studio. It wouldn't bother me. You could be stacking papers and doing everything. You'd think I'd be annoyed, but I wouldn't be. That doesn't bother me. I'm very comfortable in this chair. I'd be even more comfortable if I could stand.
Casey just
Nobody's stopping you.
Casey just sent me a photo of 3 guys blowing leaves outside of his office building. He said, Hardy, what do I do? 1 sandwich per worker? No, you get the box with the variety of sandwiches in it, and they're smaller in that because sometimes they want 2 if they're working that long.
It's been forever since Jack in a Prius has emailed, and he's got a joke. So just get your hand ready for the buzzer.
Okay.
All right. You know how I told you guys I never dine out, and so that. For dates in general, and I need to, because I don't drink anymore, I need to have dinner, and plus I need to be able to put on quite a show, because when you first see me, you're going to be disgusted. I got to work and to try to grip that control back, and that takes time. I need face-to-face contact. So dining out, remember, this is referring to eating out at restaurants. Says Fred never eats out. Maybe that's why he doesn't get a second date. Isn't that fun?
There used to be billboards for a Mexican restaurant at the Hard Rock in Las Vegas called the Pink Taco. And their tagline was, eating out never tasted so good, which I don't even know if you can say on the radio now, but you used to be able to say it on radio and TV ads and have billboards all over town.
I think that's a fair double entendre that doesn't hurt anyone. All right, Kendra, you had one that you've shown me.
Yes, it's rather long, but Fred approved it. So it's because I don't have an email. I got a DM last week, and it says, Dearest Kendra, I have to say I've been in and out on you, like Hardy and a Dylan Dreyer quickie. On the surface, you appear to be obtainable kryptonite to the average incel, which is just uninteresting and ordinary to listen to. But in witnessing some of your post commentary and antics on the morning show, perhaps there's more to you than meets the eye, which due to your slender frame is something Wallach will not be interested in ever. I hope you've come to terms with that. Anyways, my mild disgust has now morphed into mild amusement and fascination. I appreciate your linguistic skills, and candidly, if creepy people were sliding in my DMs, I'd be fascinated by it too. Anyways, I no longer wish for you to not be successful, and instead will neither be pleased or upset at it. Keep up the nominal work, mildly tolerant from Marblehead.
That's really nice.
He's mildly amused by you.
Yeah.
In male-focused radio, that's like a marriage proposal. That's like a marriage proposal.
That's a really good point.
Some middle-aged dude doesn't hate me.
My-
I'll take the W, baby.
If my son is next to me and he sees I have my email open, he'll shut the computer. And he's like, "Why do you look at that?" And I'm like, "Well, it's my work email. I have to look at it."
But swinging a listener from mild disgust to mild
Hey.
amusement, eat the W.
Yeah, eat the W, baby.
Yeah, I mean it's not going to get much nicer than that.
Well,
Kendra. I got
that's the
news for you.
thing. I get that I am an acquired taste, and that is fine. I am probably super annoying when I first meet somebody, but hey, as long as I grow on you, I'll take it. That's fine.
Oh, you're lovely, Kendra. Dave says about the Bill Belichick thing, counterpoint, sex with a 24-year-old. I know Bill is getting killed, but I feel like I'd put myself through a lot to make sweet, gentle love with a 24-year-old. It's almost priceless. I think if I was asked, I would have even been the mermaid. And he sends an email that says Bill's got the dog in him, and it's a dog and an x-ray of a chest. But believe me, well, first of all, they've already had sex. And so
Allegedly.
this makes it, you would assume. And based on the Ring camera video alone, I mean, unless he was just doing work in her house, shirt off.
Hey, I've had guys sleep at my house shirtless that nothing happened, so you never know.
Yeah, fair enough. And then did you take pictures of them months later out on the beach dressed as a mermaid?
I can't say that I did. No.
And I don't think that this 24-year-old thing, I don't know how old you are, but I don't know if it's that elusive to you. I think you're putting I think if you really wanted to, you certainly could. And I don't think you'd have to take Instagram photos to do it.
I just think of the snorts that he does at the podium, and it makes my skin crawl.
Kendra, he's unattractive.
I know. I just can't get over
Kendra,
it.
he's an old, unattractive man.
Yeah.
You're not alone. It's and then beyond that, he's like a cuck with these photos. Ooh,
Can you say that on the radio?
Yeah, it's a Shakespearean term.
That's
Cuckold's
incredible.
a Shakespearean term.
I love that.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that. Well, Liv Schatz is in for it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Oh, yeah, you can absolutely use that. That's straight from the bards. That's like...
Open with that tomorrow morning.
I cannot wait.
Oh, that's
All right.
awesome.
Well, listen, everyone
I'm
loves
gonna listen
Kendra.
now.
If you want to send her information, Kendra, where can you find it?
You can send me moderately nice DMs to @Kendra Middleton on Instagram or @Kenny with an I Middleton on Twitter.
And she will be on the Over Under 98.5 show Saturday morning from 7 to 9. We appreciate it, Kendra. Thank you so much for the time.
Thanks, Kendra.
Bye.
We'll be back with the award-winning stack.
Sports Hub headline.
This is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. The Stack is brought to you by D'Angelo Grilled Sandwiches. Have lunch with a legend this week. D'Angelo's legendary number 9 sandwich, grilled sirloin or chicken smothered in onions, peppers, mushrooms, and American cheese. Only at D'Angelo.
Fred.
Yeah?
A couple of days ago, plumbing issue at a Pennsylvania casino is alleged to have created a situation with one woman playing slots at the casino and claiming to have been covered in fecal matter. Jackpot.
I'll cash you now, sir.
She is suing, arguing that the experience
Wasn't photoed? Wasn't covered enough? Wasn't videoed?
was not captured on surveillance cameras.
That I wasn't called?
Left her in a hospital for over 2 weeks. She is playing at the live casino at the Westmoreland Mall in Pittsburgh, which I understand is just like Caesar's Palace. It's just like Bellagio.
They have legalized gambling at the mall in Pittsburgh?
I was at one casino in Pittsburgh when I was there doing an event in Washington, PA. That's like Zolak country, Western PA.
Whoa.
And it was actually a pretty nice place. I'm surprised.
It's Casino Queen in St. Louis, which is home of the loosest slots, as they say. Casino Queen, home of the loosest slots. My father and I, it's like on the Mississippi River. Obviously, it doesn't go anywhere. And we got there and we looked at it and we went, no. I'm not going to get on the Casino Queen today. I saw the people waiting in line for the Casino Queen, and I'm like, I don't want to touch the same things as the people.
Place
in
in Valley Forge, Pennsylvania, same thing.
Yeah, there's some casinos, whatever. I don't even like gambling that much. If I liked it a lot, I just don't have the passion for it. It doesn't hit dopamine receptors for me. Yeah. But if it's not at least Motel 6 clean, I'm not going in.
It is something that has been kept from us, I believe, purposely today. It is someone's birthday. You have any idea whose birthday it is today, Fred?
If it's being kept from us, but John, is it can't be Jonathan.
Happy birthday to
It's Jonathan's birthday?
It is. It is my birthday today.
November 1st.
Yes.
happy birthday to
How old are you today, Johnny?
57. How old are you, Zoe? You're not far behind. I just want to say, you're cackling over there I'm much younger than you. You're not. You're right about my age.
All right. Well, happy birthday,
Zoe,
Jonathan.
57.
I don't know why you don't make a bigger deal about your birthday. So
well, what am I going to say? I'm going to walk in here and go, hey, it's my birthday. Ready to celebrate?
Yeah, he's not used to the world stopping for him on this day.
Hey,
everybody.
I don't tell everyone 3 weeks out, it's coming. It's coming. If you find out, you find out. It's not a big deal.
If you're 3 weeks, that's a long time. If you 3 weeks from my birthday is Christmas, maybe that's why I make such a big deal about it, because it's so often forgotten. For instance, I get something cool for Christmas, and then they would give me fish for my birthday.
A CD?
No, I would have moved. I would have ran away. I would have said, but my dad did give me a Weird Al Yankovic vinyl album.
Yes.
When I was in high school. And that was not a time where people were listening to vinyl, even out of, fond memory. That was just, he was at Kmart, and there was an album, and he went, Weird Al. That's what kids like.
Right.
All right, time to make Adam 12's weekend plans, as we like to do at this time every Friday.
Okay.
Figure out what things might be taking place for free or low cost over the weekend for Adam 12. Thank you to Boston.com. Number 1, listen to an organ concert. Friday afternoons in November.
I know what everyone there's going to look like. Go ahead.
The organ will play at the Trinity Church Boston Sanctuary. Midday concerts held at 12:15 p.m. Will Adam 12 attend?
Okay, it's a Trinity Church. That's probably an Episcopal church. It's an organ.
I got married there.
You did? Is it an Episcopal church?
Episcopal, yep.
By the way, Fred, knowing his religions.
Impressive.
Well done.
Thank you. That is going to be free because why would they charge? You give a donation.
Correct.
Yeah,
Excellent.
He's there.
Have you ever gone to a church for something like a show?
Sure. I've gone to and seen musical performances at a church before.
Like that were sanctioned by the church, not like some like indie like thing that was at the quote unquote
no,
church?
I mean I've been to both. Yeah,
Not like the Black Flag like place where they
Yeah,
rehearse.
Right,
but,
exactly.
okay.
Down in the basement of the UU or whatever.
Yeah,
Sure.
That's right. You can see that in the movie, Decline of Western Civilization 1.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. Looking ahead, this for the entire month of November, some of these things.
Okay.
Feeling stressed after the election, you can explore the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum on November 6th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. They're hosting a day for the community. Read in the press release, this serves as a way for the museum to honor the civic leadership of its founder, offering a space for the community to seek solace, reflection, and connection during a stressful election season. Will Adam 12 attend?
Well, first of all, God bless them, because I think that's going to save a lot of people's sanity.
Yes.
I mean, I, for one, am going to be flipping the F out. That's it. That costs money to go to because my mom always wants to go there.
The Gardner does cost money to get
And it's been ripped off before.
Yeah.
They need to pay for better security.
Yeah.
Famously stolen from. Well, since it's a community event, it's got to be free, right? Because if it's not, what the hell's the point of putting it in a community
There you go. It's
There
a
it is.
free event.
Yep.
Free event.
Will you take advantage of that, Adam?
I've never been to the Gardner
Oh,
Museum, so
Adam,
perhaps
it's a
I will.
private
Perhaps I
collection.
will.
Adam, it's a private collection.
What day of the week did you say that is, Hardy? Is
Day
it
after the election, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
What the hell does it matter?
November. Okay.
You know, Adam, a big Trump guy.
Yes.
Finally, unleash your inner athlete through dance. The dynamic Afro-Brazilian art form
If this
combines
costs money, they might want to rethink this.
music and martial arts.
This is like an electric company.
You can get your feet wet in these energetic maneuvers with a class in South Boston's Lily's Latin Dance. Registration is required.
I got to guess that costs money, and
No,
but
I'm saying it's free.
because it sounds like you open the door and you're in a 1975 episode of The Electric Company.
First class is free.
Can I add one more just because I think it will entertain Fred that I just came across?
Yeah, you just came across it, sure.
The post Meridian radio players are bringing the golden age of radio dramas back to life and even staging new ones. They'll be performing at the Mosian Center for the Arts in Watertown this weekend.
If I plugged your nose and then opened it up and I held a box of mothballs under your nose or put you in that room, could you tell any discernible difference in smell?
Absolutely not.
Like dusty old farts. And not old farts meaning a term for people, like they're actual gas.
Literal farts.
They're literal farts, yes.
You think the Tucker was a fumble or was he down?
I don't know, but I would love to discuss it with you because it's on top of everyone's mind. It has not been discussed. That's so much. I mean, if it wasn't for that, they might not have even started their dynasty. Hey, that's free, right?
I'm looking into it.
Okay, very good. No, the thing you just told me.
Yes, I know. I literally just came across it. I haven't had a chance.
It's when desperation sets in, my friend.
Friday get out right there.
All right, that'll do it for us. Everyone, enjoy your weekend. Listen to Zolak and Sosi on Sunday as we are the home of your New England Patriots as they look for 2 wins in a row in a very winnable game.